It's our official initial Week 9 NFL picks video. I really like the slate. I can't wait to get into it for the first time all week. Before we get into everything, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, wearing something for the merch store, it is the brown Walter football t-shirt, which is probably the third or maybe the second fanciest shirt I own. If you go to a wedding with the shirt on, I guarantee you'll be the talk of the party. So definitely get one of these shirts at the merch store, which you can see here, 20% off. And you might be thinking, wait, where's this brown shirt? I don't see it. You can actually change the color of any shirt on here. You can get a long sleeve t-shirt if you're that sort of person. You can get women's tank top, infant onesie, a hoodie, lots of options here. We have our apron, we have our mugs, we have baseball cap, we have everything here. You go to Amazon, buy my books. The most recent ones is Jerks of the College Years, where I made fun of people I saw at Penn State. I was there for 6 years, so had a lot of writing material, a lot of fun to write. And then my first book was The Safety and a Field Goal, which was a top 5 topics book for the NFL. Mostly serious stuff, a lot of fun stuff too, and told some stories that people haven't heard of concerning players and coaches that are kind of crazy. So you can check that out as well. And we are joined tonight once again by Andy Iskoe from TheLogicalApproach.com. Andy, how are you, and how's your week 8?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm wondering if there's a Canadian version of that first book called perhaps a field goal, a rouge, and a safety.
is that safeties are?
And yeah, then you would have the top 6 of Canadian football trivia.
Okay. Yeah. I once lost on a rouge in overtime. I had a minus 1.5, and they were up by 7 twice in the fourth quarter. The opposing team came back. They sent it to overtime, and being unfamiliar with the CFL, and this is the only CFL play I made all year. It was actually a recommendation from a professional bettor. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, kick a field goal, we'll be fine, And then of course they kick the rouge and win. I'm like, you can win on a rouge? Like, are you kidding me? So I lost the spread because they won by 1 instead of 1.5. So that was one of I figures I had one CFL bet, and it was a bad beat, So what are you gonna do? I don't even know if it's a bad beat, but I know.
As to my week 8, it worked out pretty nicely.
Okay. Both college and NFL, or anything stronger?
Probably NFL was a little better, as I recall. It's so long ago now. I mean, I've thought so much about different football games between then and now that it sort of just goes into the past games file.
Yeah, it's all a blur,
Yeah,
I wish we had like 2 weeks in between games. I know fans.
I can't believe the season will be half over, at least week wise, after this week.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know the fans wouldn't stand for it because they want football every Sunday. Personally, I'd be like, I wish I could have 2 weeks in between each week so I can handicap the games better, have more thoughts and stuff like that. Get more data.
I'll top you as far as bad things occurring, or
okay.
or getting. Sometimes you don't want to get what you wish for. Mm-hmm. Many years I'd say, there's so many things going on. Wouldn't it be nice if things like just shut down for like a week or two and we could all catch up on everything we put off on? And then came COVID.
Yeah, exactly. That was something else. So I remember I had, you would talk about bad beats. I had an NBA DraftKings contest going, and I was like in 3rd place or 4th place, and I still had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going, or one of the, I had like I him and like another guy, and I was in 3rd place, and no one ahead of me had players remaining, and I was like, oh man, I could win this. And of course, it was.
What do you mean had no players remaining? As far as
everyone they rostered in their lineup had already played, and so.
Was that on a specific day? The day that everything was canceled, or?
Yeah, so that was that Wednesday when Rudy Gobert licked someone, and they had,
right, because I remember the following Thursday morning, the Big East at halftime suspended their tournament game, and everything fell down after that. But so you were talking about you were going to win that Wednesday night thing, or?
I had a chance.
That was a daily thing, though.
It was a daily thing, yeah.
Oh, so in other words, it didn't affect the rest of the season when they resumed in July or anything. It was just for that one day you were in 3rd place, and and everybody else had the 2 people ahead of you or whatever had already used up all their roster. All their active players had finished their games.
Yeah, and there's one game remaining. It was the Utah game because I remember Gobert was basically patient zero for COVID in the
Right.
U.S. because he licked that guy. Remember, he licked that guy, and then they had to cancel. They canceled the whole thing because he got sick.
Yeah.
But it was Utah. I believe it was Utah. Thunder,
Minnesota or
Thunder.
something, or what's that?
No, I think Gobert is still in Utah at that point.
Mm.
But I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But there was one game remaining, and I think I had the best chance to win. That doesn't mean I would have won, but it was $50,000 to first place, and yeah,
for the one day.
Yeah, for the one day. Yeah,
that was like the daily prize, the daily first place prize.
Yeah, daily prize. So
there must have been several tens of thousands competing.
DraftKings drops off considerably. Like second place is 10,000, and then so on.
No, but even so, to afford to pay out a $50,000 prize and keep their take, that's still a lot of people. Unless the entry fee is like $1,000, which I'm sure it wasn't.
No, it's like $20 or something. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, they've about 10,000, 20,000. I don't know how many people exactly, but yeah, it was pretty tilting. So of course, happened to me. So that's kind of how it goes, I guess. Stone Papa.
By the way, did they just cancel the contest for that day, or did they pay out based upon the standings at the time of cancellation, which would not have been the right thing to do?
They canceled. Well, they said the last game was canceled, so everyone in that game earned a 0. So I see
that was wrong. They should have just canceled it for the day, because that's or refunded the money of anyone who had an active player who didn't play because the game got canceled. That's what they should have done.
That's actually their stance on baseball is if a game gets rained out, then you get zeros on your players. It's like that's their stance on the games.
Well, rainouts are a risk that you take. It's kind of like when you play overs or unders even in baseball. We know that ahead of time. Yeah. I don't think there was a rule in there for if a game is canceled because I suppose the same thing would happen if there was like a like a hurricane or something that wet the floor or something, flooded the floor, whatever, that you'd get a 0. So, it's like a 0.01% chance, and that was the night that it happened.
Yeah, you remember the Metrodome, the roof collapsed.
Yeah,
something like that. So yeah, it's stuff like that. It's
I know there are people who are hoping the roof will collapse on Sunday at Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
The Raiders have to play.
Yeah. Well, I hope not. I mean, that's a new stadium. It's pretty shoddy construction if it collapsed that quickly.
I can't believe they actually lost to the bye last week.
Yeah, it was close, but they did not come through in the clutch.
No,
Geno Smith.
That's what they excel at. So
Yeah, the Y in the bye got the pick, and that was over. So, some pops were asking any thoughts on Vandy, Texas, or Florida, Georgia from a betting standpoint. I have not personally looked up the lines. I think I would trend toward Vanderbilt, but and Andy, have you handicapped these games?
Yeah, I like Texas a lot in this game.
Oh, you do? Okay.
They are still in contention for the national title, believe it or not. Their one loss that they have was to Florida. Actually, their last home game, which was over. Which was, it was almost a month ago. I think it was October 4th. Their other loss was to Ohio State to open the season.
Right.
And they are, I think it's amongst 5 or 6 teams that are either have 0 or 1 loss in the SEC. Vanderbilt, I think it's 2-2. But Texas plays 3 of those teams down the stretch. So they have a very good chance of being in the SEC title game. It's been a great season for Vanderbilt, but this will be the best defense that they will have seen all season.
Well,
and by the way, I know that Arch Manning is in concussion protocol, and considering his lack of meeting expectations this year, should he end up not playing, although right now they're thinking that it's more likely than not, I don't think you'll see a significant move on the line. Or at least, let me put it this way, you may not see a significant adjustment on the line by the lines makers. You may see an adjustment, a big adjustment in the line based upon how the betting action comes in. But I don't think the lines maker is going to make maybe a point and a half adjustment.
Yeah. I mean, he's been so underwhelming. I was talking to Evan. I was like, at what point does the Manning family come out and be like, you know what? He was adopted. He's not really one of us. He's been so underwhelming.
He's actually the son of Danny Manning, the basketball player from years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't look at all like him, but yeah, he somehow is. Maybe you should just play basketball instead. Florida, Georgia. I would lean Georgia. I think. I don't know if I'd make a play on it, but
Yeah, I'd be interested in Florida if the line goes up a little bit. Florida did have a lousy start to the season. And then, like I just mentioned, they went down to Texas and pulled an upset there after they'd won a couple of games. Of course, the coach got fired, and it's one of the more attractive college jobs out there during the offseason. I think we've said about 10 coaches have been fired in mid-season. And I really can never recall even half that number being let go, and certainly not before like Thanksgiving when they're playing out the stretch and they've already made a decision. You had a lot. I think we had a couple actually at the end of September or first week of October. Georgia is the better team, but they're not as good as they were last year. I think they allowed a lot of what was it? I forget the game. Maybe it was against Ole Miss where they allowed like 5 touchdown drives early or something. The first 5 drives ended touchdowns. The offense has not been strong. They both have good athletes. This could be the kind of game that's like a 27-23 game, Georgia winning, but Florida covering.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I do know a lot of sharp people who think Georgia's going to blow them out, and it really wouldn't shock me. But I think from a betting standpoint, it's a rivalry game, and Florida probably has to believe their season is over. So what better way to to do something like that than put a crimp in Georgia's title game plans? But
sure,
it's one thing to say we'd like to do it. It's another thing to be able to do it and then actually do it.
Yeah, it's if they have nothing else to play for, like why not? It's the Super Bowl at this point. So, and then with the coaching firings, not a surprise, given when rich people have to dish out a lot of money for the NIL with all the boosters, there's a lot of pressure. So.
I think that's what happened. I got eliminated from that last man standing contest that I was in here at the Station Casinos 2 weeks ago when LSU lost to Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, LSU followed it up with a come-from-ahead loss leading at halftime to Texas A&M. And I look at this. So I lost my entry fee because LSU lost. The coach gets fired, and he gets like $50 million. So who's the real winner here, me or the coach?
Right.
He gets $50 million for not working. And I got to go make some bets to recover the entry fee. Not that it's anything big or whatever. It's just a little thought on something doesn't always work out the way you'd like it to. But no, I thought that I was surprised actually that Brian Kelly wasn't let go after that Vanderbilt game.
Yeah.
Because number one, they Nussmeier, the quarterback, is not having a very good year. So you can't blame the poor season on poor quarterback play or injuries. The offensive line has had some issues, and the defense has not been up to normal LSU standards. LSU is usually good for sending 2-3 players to the NFL each year from that defense, but I don't know this year. But then it's a different thing. You may have good individual players, but as a team, the unit doesn't come through because different parts of the defense don't hold up their end. Yeah,
that LSU offensive line's been so bad. It feels like Nussmeier's
It makes me think of the Raiders.
Yeah, it's Nussmeier's been on his back like every other play. It's like
I think he's going to be an astronomer because he's seen so many stars.
Yeah, he and Joshua Dobbs can have some conversations, I guess. Thoughts on the Sharps seemingly betting the Vikings, taking the line from 9 to 8 on some books?
I really don't see it. You got to remember, and we'll get to the game, of course, but McCarthy's really still a rookie quarterback. This is only his 3rd start since he missed all of last year due to injury. He played 8 quarters and was lousy in 7 of the 8. The only quarter he was good in was that comeback 4th quarter on the opening Monday night game against the Chicago Bears, who, of course, at that point, it was Ben Johnson's first game as head coach. So he was sort of seeing what he had, and they played well, but Minnesota came back on the road to win. So it's always difficult when you're, I won't say a rookie quarterback technically, but a very young and inexperienced quarterback has to go on a road and face a team that is as well balanced and right now relatively healthy, especially on defense, which was their undoing at the end of last year. Keep in mind, at the end of last year, week 18, the Detroit defense was decimated. Yeah. Okay, Hutchinson had been out. They'd lost other players towards the end, which ultimately led to their home loss to Washington in a playoff game because they couldn't stop anything. Yeah. But they were playing for the division title. The winner of that game in week 18 was going to win the NFC North because both Detroit and Minnesota were 14-2. And barring a tie, where the tiebreaker would have gone to Detroit because they beat them 31-29 earlier in the season, they beat them 31-9. It was, one of the bad games that Darnold had, but If it wasn't, and you can see this year, whether it be Wentz or McCarthy, if they didn't have Darnold last year, they don't go 14-3.
Yeah, I think we understand that now. Wentz was playing with a torn labrum apparently for 2 weeks. And
was it 2 weeks?
Yeah,
his numbers weren't terrible.
Yeah,
but could McCarthy have done any better? Not really sure with that inexperience.
No, I don't think so either. All right, well, let's get to the games. So the Thursday night game looks like a banger to me. Ravens at the Dolphins. Ravens are -7.5 here. Let's look at the injury report, which is crucial for the Ravens. And look, they don't have a single player with an injury designation. Lamar Jackson full all week. So apparently he couldn't go last week. He's playing with practice squad, and
so nobody's on the injury report.
No one on Baltimore. No one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, except for Matabuke on IR, but that's
I'm talking about players who would be designated something other than out or IR.
Right. Yeah, the Ravens have 0 designations, so they are fully healthy outside of their IR guys. And then the Dolphins, Ashton Davis, and these guys are really non-players except for Chubb. He's DMP limited, so you have to think that he has a good chance of playing here. Given the lack of injuries here for the Ravens, I think they are the play here. They are obviously desperate. They're 2-5. They have to start winning these games. And I like that, for the Ravens, I like that the Dolphins are coming off a win. Usually, bad teams coming off wins. We looked up that stat a few weeks ago. They were 35% against the spread. And Miami had a great win at Atlanta, but Atlanta was a no-show. Miami just did whatever they wanted. I don't know what the Falcons are doing. It's the second time they did that all season, this season. And with Lamar Jackson,
this one was at home.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Were you talking about the Carolina loss where it was a no-show?
Yeah,
that was on the road. This one was at home.
Yeah, humiliating. If I'm Arthur Blank, I'm like, you know what? I probably wouldn't do this. If Arthur Blank probably would never do this, and it's not my money, so I'm saying this. If I'm Arthur Blank, I'm like, anyone who bought a ticket, I'm refunding you because that embarrassing. The people work so hard to save up money for tickets, and they go to see that disaster. That's terrible. So it's one thing to lose and try hard, but to put forth 0 effort, it's just at home. It's terrible. Anyway, so I would like the Ravens a lot, but I don't know how healthy Lamar Jackson is. Obviously he doesn't have an injury designation, but doesn't mean that he's 100%. What if he aggravates his hamstring? That's my only concern here.
Well, the question really is, could he really have played last week, but for the fact they were going to play 4 days later?
Yeah, I wonder about that. So, look, I'm still going to bet Baltimore for a couple units here. Nothing crazy, but
won't be a contest play.
No. Well, it might be a contest play in the contests that I can edit my picks. Okay.
I'll draft. I'm talking about the 2 out here.
Yeah, right. No, it won't be. But in DraftKings, you can edit your picks. So,
and by the way, the only reason I thought that you might be including it is that you said you really like the card this week, so that means that you probably have maybe you're looking at 7 out of the 5 teams out of a list of 7 instead of 5 out of a starting list of 14 games.
Yeah, there are. It's probably 7 or so. Yeah, so I don't really need to play this one. Plus, there's just the question about if Jackson's healthy. So what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I also like Baltimore. Now it's interesting because I'll go back to the 10-day advanced line. In other words, the lines that were a week ago yesterday before this past weekend's games were played, when of course Baltimore they had the bye last week, and they were 8-point favorites when the line came out last Tuesday. Then Miami goes to Atlanta on Sunday and wins the game convincingly. Probably will end up being their best effort of the year. Because it'll be very hard to top what they did. I mean, they totally dominated that game from the start. When they reposted the line Sunday night, and of course we knew Baltimore wasn't doing anything this week other than manipulating injury reports, but I mean, they weren't doing anything on the field that would have necessarily caused an adjustment in the line, especially because it appeared that Lamar could have played. when they put the lineup at 8 back on last Tuesday. When they put it up Sunday night, there was a very tiny adjustment. They opened it at 7.5 rather, and they did adjust the total, which the advanced total was 49.5. They did push it up a point to 50.5, perhaps because of the fact of the Miami offense looking as sharp as it did, neglecting the fact that the Miami defense actually played its best game of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm on Baltimore, and I'll probably end up being on the over as well.
Okay.
Barring any injury concerns from or weather concerns from the hurricane Melissa.
Okay. I didn't see anything the weather, but I looked a couple days ago. Yeah, it looks like 73 clear and light wind. So doesn't look like that's going to hit at that point. But as I always say, weather, the weathermen can't even predict the weather. So it's kind of hard to just be like, oh, what's the weather? It's kind of take it for granted.
They can't even predict rain when they're outside and they're hearing noises on the top of their umbrella.
Yep, exactly. Luke asking, hey, Walt, should I trade Doodle and a first for Hampton? I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. Well, it depends if you're trying
I wouldn't. No, I assume this is a dynasty league.
Dynasty, yeah.
So there are draft choices.
I mean, Doodle could be a player down the road.
Yeah, that's why I think I might maybe a second.
Yeah, this draft class doesn't seem great for skill players. There are a couple of receivers who go in the first round. There's Jeremiah Love for running back. And then there's some quarterbacks, but I don't know if it's so hard to predict who's going to be a good fantasy player for quarterback.
Well, Doodle might be good for the rest of this year. So see how much the guy wants to trade you, how much he really wants him. Offer him a second.
Yeah, yes, I agree. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's get to the Sunday games here. We have Bears at the Bengals. This line is Bears -3. A lot of injury question marks in this game. None of the Chicago receivers practiced. None of the top 4 receivers practiced on Wednesday. Now it's only Wednesday, and a lot can change, but that is a concern. DeAndre Swift also did not practice. For the Bengals, Joe Flacco didn't practice with a shoulder, and Trey Hendrickson did not practice. He got hurt last week, and when he left the game, we actually bet the Jets over total points live, just given that, without Hendrickson, the Bengals can't stop anything. Like, their defense is already bad with him. Like, without him, just forget about it. So this is like, if Flacco were healthy, if you tell me like Flacco's 100% and Hendrickson's going to play, I would be on Cincinnati here as a home dog. But if this is Jake Browning and no Hendrickson, I think Chicago would be the play at that point. But what if Chicago's receivers are all out and their cornerbacks have been injured? So I would like to see what their cornerback situation is as well, because they were down their top 3 corners last week. And it looks like Tyreek Stevenson was limited, at least in this practice. So there's a good chance that's not going to be a concern, because I thought maybe if Chicago's down all their cornerbacks again, you have Chase and Higgins and Yoshivas, like they should be able to take advantage of that. But that's not going to be the case. So right now, I initially thought I was going to be on the Bengals here, but if Flacco and Hendrickson are out, I would be on the Bears. What do you think about this game?
Why wouldn't you just pass the game with all the injury concerns on the Bears?
Oh, I have to pick this on the website, but
okay, you got to come over there.
I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not going to be betting the game.
Is there a confidence level they could put in there, like an A, B, or a C, such as a strong, medium, or weak, or something like that?
Yeah. I do unit counts, so this would just be 0 units. Like, I'm not going to bet the game,
Well, I'm going to ask you, maybe you know the answer. Someone out there might. Bengals played the Jets last week. Do you know what teams who play the Jets do against the spread the following week? They are the only team with this record.
You told me last week. So they are, they believe that they are, what was it? It was one or the other. It was either unbeaten or winless. It was. And
how about over under?
I don't know about over. I think teams that played the Jets have a terrible record afterward, if I remember correctly.
Are you talking about against the spread or in the totals?
Against the spread.
Okay. You are correct. The teams that play the Jets in their following game, they are a beautiful 0-7 against the spread, and all 7 games have gone over the total.
Wow. Okay.
So that would be Chicago and over.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's. I think
I,
there's some.
I don't know
Yeah.
necessarily. Now, for many, many years, a lot of handicappers and bettors knew about teams struggling the week after they played the Steelers. I mean, this goes back like 30, 40 years when the Steelers were already always dominant defensively
Mm-hmm.
because they physically wore you down. It's kind of like Cleveland, last year. Cleveland's this year, the teams are, for example, after playing Cleveland, the teams are 3-3-1 straight up because I think Green Bay had the tie the week after they played the Browns. 3-4 against the spread. 6-0-1 to the over because you're facing a defense the following week that is not as tenacious as the Cleveland defense that you just played the week before.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I don't know about the Jets other than maybe the Jets are still have a decent defense enough to keep them competitive in games because the offense has been horrible that maybe these teams are facing a defense considerably weaker than the Jets, so their offense has success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
don't know about the total, but I suspect the teams do very poorly against the spread because they'll look so good against the Jets, and it's because the Jets are terrible, and so their spread will be inflated the next week, or they'll be overconfident after doing so well against the Jets. One or the other, maybe both.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I put in the newsletter this week, so I'm going to take a look. I think I ended up going. Let me see here. I think I ended up going with the Bears. Let me pull it out. I ended up going with the Bears slightly because I think that Cincinnati still has those issues on defense, and Ben Johnson's a creative coach, and I think that there are more things that they can do correctly than the Bengals can do. I'm going to get that out here in a second, so bear with me just a moment.
Okay. We have the comment, Bengals are on pace to allow nearly 2,250 rushing yards this season. That's the all-time record. So that's how bad they've been, which is not a surprise. They're just so poorly built, and they draft so poorly. They just haven't hit any of their defensive picks except for DJ Turner lately. I mean, obviously they hit Hendrickson, but as far as like picks in the last 3, 4, 5 years, it's barren. They have nothing. And nothing going on. So,
I did go with Cincinnati with Chicago as a play.
Okay.
And it wasn't necessarily due to that thing about the Jets. Although it's nice to have that kind of support when I was looking at that team in the first place. And of course, part of it had to do with Flacco and his situation as well. But the Bears are showing the kind of progress week by week on both sides of the ball that you like to see with a first-year coach, especially one that comes over with an offensive background as opposed to offensive background. And the defense, and because the offense has shown improvement, it takes pressure off the defense, which wasn't all that great. Now, obviously the injuries hurt, and sometimes you don't know how good the backups are. The one thing the backups, of course, lack is the experience to play off what their teammates are doing because of the familiarity that the starters have with one another. But, Cincinnati, the way they lost the game last week, that was a great opportunity for Cincinnati to get back into the AFC North race. Obviously Baltimore was absent, was on bye week. You had the Steelers, who a lot of people, including myself, thought they could beat the Packers. And it was just a horrible performance after the first few minutes of that game. Cincinnati had a real opportunity last week that they didn't take advantage of. And so they turned what should have been a win. I mean, what were they up by double digits throughout the fourth quarter? What did they just score, like 24 points in the fourth quarter, something like that?
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
But,
Hendrickson made that happen.
Yeah. Maybe the Jets were trying to outdo what the Giants did the week before, or what Denver did the week before against the Giants in the fourth quarter with 33 points. But this Cincinnati team really had the opportunity and it appeared to be on their way to becoming a potential factor again. Again, you can't really blame Joe Flacco because look, they put up all those points, but you have to blame the defense, which is as bad as ever, and they don't really have. It wasn't a big injury report on the Cincinnati defense. Has it been this year?
No, they just lack talent.
Yeah.
And Hendrickson not practicing Wednesday is a big deal, as I said. And Flacco not practicing. If there's no
Yeah.
Flacco, no Hendrickson, I'm going to be betting the Bears. Like I said, 0 units on the Bears right now, but I will be betting the Bears if they're out, assuming that the Bears get some receivers healthy, because like I said, they didn't practice on Wednesday either. None of them did. So that a lot of stuff on the injury report here that we have to wait on right now because we don't have all the data. Bengals have also allowed 10 touchdowns to tight ends in 8 games. I've allowed most receiving yards to tight ends of any team, 594. Didn't realize they were that bad. They're just a horrible defense. All they have is Hendrickson and Turner, and that's it. They have nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the next game. The 49ers at the Giants. The 49ers are -2.5. The Giants, they had that horrible injury to Scatabo last week, and after that happened, they couldn't really score at all. They had a garbage time touchdown. That was it. As soon as Scatabo got injured, I lied bet Eagles -14.5, and that ended up working out pretty well. Just the Giants without Neighbors, they need to get someone like Scatabo to be a versatile weapon, and without him, they have nothing going on. San Francisco, though, I really want to see some of their edge rushers practice. They did trade for Keon White, but he hasn't played well this year. Bryce Huff did not practice today. Yetur Gross-Matos did not practice today. Obviously, Nick Bosa's out. For me to be on the Niners, and I think I like the Niners here. I mean, they have a great matchup with McCaffrey against the Giants' run defense, which just allowed Barkley to go nuts. But I need to see some edge rushers practice for the Niners, because right now they could get 0 pressure on the Texans, and the Texans have a horrible offensive line. So, with no Scatabo, Dart would have a chance with no pressure here. So this might end up being a non-play, but again, this is going to be something that's dictated on the injury report. So right now I'm leaning toward the Niners, but it might be a change pick eventually. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, it's very hard for me to play the Giants under almost any circumstances, considering, number one, it's a thin roster to begin with, especially on offense. You're without your best receiver. You're out without your best running back, even though he's a rookie. That's a lot of production that you were starting to see from both. Okay, and of course, Neighbors didn't play really more than a game or so. That to lose that and not have much in the bed, are the Giants? They can't really believe that they're serious for the playoffs, that they're going to go out and make a trade at the deadline next week to strengthen those positions, because they don't have any depth there, which affects the defense, especially the pass rush, which is supposed to be one of the better ones. So there's more pressure on them because they're going to be on the field a lot longer, because the Giants are going to have a lot of three and outs. So. The 49ers are taking a step down as far as the defense they're going to face this week, after facing a very motivated Houston defense last week. So I don't like the idea of the 49ers. You don't know. They didn't stay back in Houston, did they? They went back to Frisco.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I didn't see anything about it. So in the absence of, because that'd be a significant note worth putting in a reporter's column, that in the absence of that, and I haven't seen anything, I queried it a few times, that I have to believe that it's going to be another cross country. Well, it wasn't quite cross country to Houston, but still a lot of time to get across the country. But if I were to play the game, and I think I put this down in my lean category. By the way, I did put Baltimore down in my lean category, simply because we didn't know. I mean, we figured that Lamar's going to play, but is he going to play the whole game?
Yeah.
That's the only side I can play. Same thing with the 49ers. It's just that you don't know what you're going to get. You're going to rely a little bit too much on McCaffrey. Will the Giants be able to pressure the quarterback? I think Houston did a good job last week, didn't they? I don't recall.
Yeah, they did. I by the way, I Googled, this is how bad AI is. Did the Niners go back to San Francisco before the Giants game? And it said, no, the 49ers did not go back to San Francisco because their home stadium's in Santa Clara, a different city.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Thank you, Google. And so I said, I changed it to, did they go back home? And then it gave me something like, no, they didn't go back home in 2023. I'm like, okay, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. But believe me, and I have this discussion all the time, probably mention it here even once a week, is that the number of times that I query Google knowing the answer, and I mean, absolutely certain about the answer, and they come back and give me a different answer, And then I go in and I ask and I say, hey, according to the information that I have, firsthand knowledge, this is the answer.
Mhm.
And AI takes its time, comes back and says, you are correct. I apologize for a mistake. Indeed,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. What you said is correct. Now,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
imagine a guy is going to go do some heart surgery. And the first thing he does is he questions Google for a certain procedure. I'm not going to feel too comfortable with that patient as me.
No, no, not at all. It always says, sorry for the typo. It says, cause like, I think
Oh,
I told you when I was doing I wanted to see what AI would do for a 2026 or 2025 NFL mock draft. And it gave me, it spit out Will Johnson for one of the picks, that Michigan corner. And then
mhm.
20 picks later, it gave me a Willie Johnson, another cornerback from Michigan. I'm like, am I
Wait a
crazy?
minute.
It's like, is there a Will and a Willie Johnson? Like, I thought I was losing it. And obviously there was not. And so I told it, I'm like, you had Will Johnson twice, but he designated the second one's Willie Johnson. And then it replied, sorry for the typo. I'm like, it's not a typo. It's just like your coding's bad.
You're just wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, I think I told you I was at a Bruce Springsteen concert back on Christmas Eve, 1975, 76. And he has a song, one of his more popular songs is Rosalita. And a few months earlier, he had been on the cover of Time and Newsweek in the same week. And he changed the lyrics to the Rosalita song to reference the fact that he basically said, tell your daddy I ain't no freak. I've been on the cover of Time and Newsweek. He sang it at that New Year's Eve concert because I remembered it, and I actually got a copy of it now that I've been looking for years for it. So I queried Google. I said, did Bruce Springsteen change the lyrics from so-and-so to so-and-so in a concert at the Tower Theater in Philadelphia on December 31st, 1975? Artificial intelligence comes back and says, no, he did change the lyrics to that song, but he did not do so for the first time until April of 1976, blah, 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 blah. So I respond, I say, okay, Google. Oh, I got my phone on. It's listening for me right now. So I better. So I make the query. I happen to know firsthand from being at that concert that Bruce Springsteen indeed changed the lyrics during that song from blah 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 to blah blah blah. Google searches it, comes back and says, "You are correct. I apologize. This indeed happened on that concert that you mentioned. Blah blah blah. However, the first recorded message in most sources seems to suggest it was in April."
Yeah.
And folks, I point this out because we are going to. What's that?
I love how it just lies to you. Like instead of saying, "Oh, I don't know,"
it's only doing partial research, and it's probably just going with the first reference on some obscure thing like that. And I'm telling you, people, and the reason I mention is be very, very careful with artificial intelligence or AI, which is me, my initials. You probably have to be aware of both of us. But I think artificial intelligence is the one that could do more harm to everybody. I can only do harm to a small audience, not to a universal or global audience, because there's a lot of misinformation that people. Yeah, I'll tell you what. And maybe this is part of it, because when students are using artificial intelligence to write papers, and the teachers or the professors know the actual answer, that's how they're going to catch them.
Yeah, South Park did an episode about that where the students were using AI for their assignments, and so the teacher was really frustrated about this. And he's like, oh, why are the students doing this? I wish they'd do their work. And then his partner is like, well, you could use it to grade the assignments. He's like, really? And so he uses AI to grade the assignments as well. No, it lies to you. And what's really bad about this is that I read an article saying that half of articles produced this year have been AI on the internet. And so AI is reading the other AI stuff, and it's basically like eating its own records at this point, and just getting worse because it's reading up on the lies that it self tells, and then
artificial intelligence is becoming as dangerous as Photoshop.
Yeah, right.
Seriously.
Well, yeah.
You can't tell the difference.
Andy, I saw a horrifying video today. It was an AI produced Friends video. Like someone made fake Friends, the Friends, the TV show.
The TV show, yeah.
Yeah. They made fake Friends scenes, and it was AI produced, and it was like garbled nonsense. I mean, they're speaking English, but like they were making jokes that didn't make sense, and they're like the crowd was laughing. And in one scene, Chandler comes through the door, and like he opens the door, but he reaches out in front of the door to open it from the other side. and it was so weird. And then Monica is playing a guitar, and she's rested down, and the guitar is floating with her hand. It's like it's so bad. It has to improve.
Sounds like an amateur's job.
Yeah, I know. It was really bad. Yeah. I just had ChatGPT to make a 2026 mock draft, and the Patriots taking Caleb Downs first overall. They also have the Chiefs taking Xavier Restrepo at 29. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah. Now I thought he was going to say they had him taking Caleb Williams first overall.
Oh yeah,
in the 2026 draft.
Right, that'd be worse. Yeah, it's something they would do. Who's going to catch passes for the Giants? Wandale Cucumber. That's the we had a joke last night. The Wandale Robinson is like a cucumber, it's gonna be him or Slayton. It's pretty bleak for the Giants. So we agree. We're on the Niners. I think
reluctantly.
My level of interest,
because I remember last week. I don't remember if you agreed with me. I thought that the 49ers should have been favored over Houston. Couldn't understand Houston being favored.
Okay.
Considering their play coming into the game, and yet the lines makers were correct. And I wonder if that's with San Francisco, because San Francisco's had injuries, but for the most part, they've been able to win games despite the injuries.
Yeah. Well, I think it took it to another level last week because they had cluster injuries at defensive end. And what was
it, like 40 to 20 time of possession for Houston? Some outrageous number.
Yeah. San Francisco couldn't get any pressure on Stroud. Yeah. And given how bad Houston's offensive line is, that's saying a lot. That they couldn't get pressure on him. They were down Bryce Huff and Gross Matos and Bosa, so like they couldn't get any pressure. That's why they traded for Keon White yesterday. The problem is Keon White was better last year. He had 5 sacks last year, but he has 3 whole pressures this year. So I don't know if he's going to make much of a difference. So if I'm betting the Niners, I need to see Huff or at least Gross Matos playing. But they were both DNP on Wednesday, but still early in the week. Okay, let's get to the next game, which is Falcons.
By the way, is that a game you're considering to play, or just that's going to be just the opinion between the two teams?
Yeah, I would consider it if Huff and Gross Matos are back, or if Huff is back. I think I'd be on the Niners. I think the Giants are in a really rough spot. I suspect that they're going to be a lot worse. I like the Niners as the better team coming off a loss. Yeah. So just makes sense to me. Feels like this should be 3.5. Giants are still getting public love for the win over the Philadelphia. Yeah, and for their 3 quarters.
I think it was 2.5 at one point and got bet up to 3.
Oh, did it? Okay. I think it was 1.5. I thought it opened 1.5. If I'm not mistaken. And I think it went up to 2.5. I can actually look very quickly. So on DraftKings, no, it says 3 to 2.5. I swear I saw 1.5. I guess I'm wrong.
Let me see here, because I did the advanced line was San Francisco 2.5. 45. This is from Westgate, and when they posted the lines after the Sunday games, San Francisco was 3 and 45.5. But I think it did go down initially, and then come back up.
Okay.
But I would imagine it'll probably, unless there's some significant injury news, I've seen a lot of the cases this year where it's gone back to that adjusted number, not the advanced number, but the adjusted number when they were different. So I could see it ending up on 3.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So, sometimes it's a lot of, some of the groups are betting on the Giants to drive the line further down. The followers come in, and then the big money comes in, Friday, Saturday to late 2 instead of 3.
Yeah, the phantom, the phantom movement,
the head fake.
Yeah, I saw a Billy Walters special in 2020. Oh no, it was 60 minutes. Sorry, 60 minutes.
Oh, that was years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. He talked about that in that interview, which was interesting.
Yeah, which by the way, there's nothing wrong with doing it, because you're putting up money, and you can bet whoever you want. You don't have to have a reason when you make a bet. You just have to have the money to do it.
Yeah, it happens in the stock market all the time. Right?
Yeah, and it's crowd psychology.
Yeah. People want to buy calls. If people with the money, they want to buy calls, they'll drag the price down. The market makers will drag the price down, and people will buy their calls. People will get panicked because the price is dropping, and people will buy their calls, and the stock will move. That always happens. So, it's interesting that also happens in sports betting.
Stock market is 1,000 times more crooked than sports, at least up until now.
I'd say 1,000 is light. I would say 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
But yeah. with Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier.
Yeah, with the situation now, which is a very strange situation, but we'll find out what happened,
Yeah.
what really happened.
I guarantee there's more of that. I guarantee there's stuff
Yeah.
like that in the NFL too. But
Yeah,
I like you can't really prove it. So anyway, we have the Falcons at the Patriots next. The Patriots are -5.5. So this you've mentioned advanced spreads. This is such a big movement from the advanced spread. It goes from 2.5 to 5.5. So big movement here, and it's because Atlanta lost at home to Miami 34-7, and New England impressive against the Browns. Although it was only 9-7 at halftime, and in the second half, Dylan Gabriel imploded. Drake May did make some great plays though, despite getting sacked 5 times by Garrett. But I think this is going to be a closer game. I think Atlanta just being completely embarrassed like that, I think they will play harder. And, the Patriots, as good as they've been, and I don't want to really take much away from them because they've blown out their competition, but I think it really must be said that the Patriots haven't really played any top-level teams except for the Bills. Now, they did beat the Bills, but they've only played 2 teams above Group D. And that really, when I'm evaluating this team, and I still have them.
Where do you have it? Where do you have Atlanta though?
I have them in Group C. Yeah. So this would be either their second or third toughest game of the year, the Patriots. So I could see them covering this, but I'm going to be in Atlanta for the value. I think this should have stayed around 2.5 or 3, probably 3. And I think we're getting good value with Atlanta. So what do you think about this game?
One thing about Atlanta, and you don't hear a lot of people talk about it. Let me see if I can find the numbers here. But they've actually been pretty good defending the pass. And if they can get any sorts of pressure on May and make him throw a little bit earlier than he would like, that could be a negative for the Patriots. Looking at the numbers for Atlanta, they are actually number 1 against the pass. They allow 149 passing yards per game, best in the NFL. Let me just see what the gap is to number 2, 162 by Washington, surprisingly enough. The difference between Atlanta and Washington is Washington has those good passing defense numbers because they are 31st in the league and allowing 150 rushing, 128. They're 22nd, 129, 22nd, and Atlanta is actually right there, 21st. So that's not terrible, but it does indicate that teams are able to or are not able to pass the ball as much against Atlanta, and I think that's been a good part of New England's early success with Drake May.
Yeah. So the coaching difference in Patriots Falcons game is stark. Yeah. I really do not like Raheem Morris. He's a good defensive coach. I'll say that. But as a head coach,
there you go with the passing defense there. Partially explained.
Yeah, I just think motivating his team has always been an issue with him. Dating back to his Tampa days, he just the 1 year Tampa quit on him. So I was kind of surprised that he was rehired. But Dripsaw Killer saying that the Patriots are weak to receiving backs. So that would be Bijan here doing pretty well. HN murdered them. Yeah, it's a good matchup, I think, for Bijan Robinson. Dripsaw also says Patriots also go to Tampa next week. They're +1.5 to look at. I think the Patriots don't cover against the Falcons. That line is in the week 10 goes to +3, and the Patriots.
Didn't those efficiencies that were just pointed out about New England's defense, weren't they even worse for Miami's defense?
Yeah, but I don't know. The level of effort was very low for Atlanta last week.
No, the game was 0-0 when it started, so they hadn't been outplayed for at least 5 minutes.
Yeah. It was close for a while. I think Miami did score in the opening drive, so I don't know how long that took, but it was like a team that a non-horrible team that was embarrassed like that. I kind of want to back them. So. I will be in Atlanta, medium size.
I don't know how non-horrible they are. That week 2, win at Minnesota isn't looking that good right now. That loss to Carolina never looked good.
Right.
What is Atlanta? I mean, they got that one win over Buffalo.
Yeah.
Over an injured Buffalo team.
Yeah, look, I mean, they hung tight with Tampa in week 1. Granted, that was at home, but they could have won the game if
but they didn't.
Right.
They didn't.
Yeah, they did outgame.
Good teams win games like that.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're a good team. I'm
No, but I'm
definitely not
saying
saying
that no,
Atlanta's a good team.
yeah, they're probably if you, well, you did ABC. You don't do ABCDF. You just do ABCF, correct?
No, I do D. I have a D
Okay,
there.
I would have them as yeah. I think you said you have them as a C
Hmm.
with the arrow
Yeah.
pointing down, meaning you're more likely to go to a D than to a B.
Yeah. If I'm giving us pluses and minuses, I think they're a C minus. But
Yeah,
I think they are an average team.
and the
For the
talent is
most part.
there.
Yeah, I think they have a team of talent that is coached very poorly.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that's a C team. Like I don't think they're a bad team, but I don't think they're a good team. So
yeah. Where's
yeah,
that line? What are you using as the line? 5.5.
yeah, 5.5. I'd love 6, but
Yeah,
not so
that's where
much.
I mean you know, New England's beating up on all these bad teams, but they're winning when they play these bad teams, and that breeds
Right.
confidence. And look, if they needed a little bit of things, they say, are we as good as we think we are? Hey, you went into Buffalo and you won there.
Yeah.
Forget the
Yeah.
explanation about injury and all that. You still had to win the game,
Yeah.
and you were still decided underdogs in the game, and you won.
Hmm.
So maybe I may have been wrong on this Patriots team. I played them under the win total because I thought they were asking for a little bit too much too soon, but and I didn't. I mean, I knew the schedule. Certainly, the early part of the season was going to be relatively favorable,
Hmm.
but Atlanta has the overall numbers. Um, Atlanta rushes the football 46% of the time. New England able to do it 50% of the time, so they haven't had to rely on the pass as much. New England has, let me see, they've been weaker at holding on to the football. They've been better at recovering turnovers. Offensive quarterback sacks. Atlanta's been sacked 1.4 times per game for 7.5 yards each, so about almost 11 yards per game sacked. But New England, Drake May, 3.5 times per game. That's cost an average about 14 yards per game for sacks, about a little bit under 5. Defensive sacks are virtually even.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both average about a little bit under 2.5 defensive sacks per game. So it's the offensive sacks, but I've got to remember when I do this chart next week to have the averages down there because I like to compare team numbers to the NFL average. But I didn't put it on this one, so I have to redo that chart. But Atlanta probably will get to Drake May once or twice during the game. The question is in what situation.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they're young edge rushers, so they have some talent there. Okay. Colts at the Steelers. This line is.
By the way, this is another one that I'm not looking to play. I'll give it some thought at +6, but there are other games I like better.
Okay. All right. So next one is Colts -3 at Pittsburgh. Maybe this is a repeat of what we saw last week, where the Steelers were +3 against the Packers, and I think the Packers and Colts could be rated similarly. Maybe it's a little hard to say, but if we're assigning groups to these teams, I'd put them both in Group B at this point. So
reasonable.
Yeah. So like at first glance, I'm thinking, okay, maybe Colts -3. Then I think about it, and the advanced spread was 2.5. I made this line personally with my numbers, Colts -1.5. So I can't quite get to 3. You kind of have to pay a premium for it, and I think that's like a tax on how good the Colts have been this year. You still have Tomlin with a great record as an underdog. He's 64-37 against the spread as an underdog. You have to like him off.
What was he coming into the season, or put it differently, what's his record this season in that role?
All right. Let me see. So Tomlin this year has been an underdog one time against Green Bay. His favorite. He was an underdog against Minnesota, so 1-1.
That was a London game,
and that's it. We'll just twice.
The Ireland game, I think it was.
Yeah, he's just been an underdog twice, so 1-1.
But I don't think he's ever had as poor defense as he has this year.
Yeah. That is true. Their defense is bad. They lost to Sean Elliott, but they did trade for Kyle Duggar. So lateral move maybe at best.
Will Duggar be ready for this game?
Probably not. I don't know. I mean, he might play some snaps, I'm sure. Maybe not all the snaps. So Yeah, I don't. You're right. I mean, this defense is rather weak, and I could see the Colts winning easily. But on the other end, I think the Steelers are it's like a good line value. I mean, this is a play on the number rather than the matchup. I don't like this game very much from a betting standpoint. This is one of the tougher games I think to handicap. But maybe you like it more. What do you think?
I like Indianapolis.
Okay,
Do you recall last year?
let's hear what.
The Indianapolis Colts through first 9 games, 8-1 against the point spread. Everybody kept saying, and they were, I think, let me see here, they were 4-4 through the first 8 games. So they were 4-5 when they had covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. They covered 6 in a row. So they were 7-1 against the point spread through 8 games. They were despite being 4-4. And nobody really paid much of a thought. Ultimately, they started losing games because they ended up, losing after that point spread streak ended. They lost, I think, about 6 games, 6-4 and 6 or something like that. But the point is that they weren't getting any respect last year. And last year, they were much weaker at quarterback than they are this year. Yeah. So, and I often use the analogy. And it was last week, Green Bay is the better team than Pittsburgh. And which would I have felt worse? Would I have felt worse betting on Pittsburgh because of the spot and lost, or would I have felt worse betting on Indianapolis because they're the better team had they lost? And I couldn't quite answer that. This one I can answer. That if Indianapolis covers again with the win, I'd feel a lot worse out of saying, well, it's a good spot for the Steelers, and Tomlin's got this great record, and they're coming off a home loss the night before, the week before in the national audience, and so I figured, it was a great spot. Well, great spots are nice, but you got to have the talent to take advantage of that great spot. I'm not sure the Steelers do, especially defensively. I mean, Indianapolis is putting up some very nice numbers. They got, you could argue that that Taylor is in the MVP conversation, or perhaps Offensive Player of the Year, which often goes to somebody not a quarterback. So it's almost like their own award. MVP is for non-quarterbacks. And, of course, Pittman and some of the other receivers are doing well. Outstanding tight end. He could be Rookie of the Year, much like Brock Bowers won the award back when he won it. So, and the defense is putting up, let me see, decent numbers. Let me see what their sack numbers are. Nothing outstanding, about league average. They haven't gotten sacked a lot. They don't turn the ball over a lot. Let's see. Yards per play is better than Pittsburgh. Yards per play defense is slightly better than Pittsburgh, but not by a meaningful amount. Their running game is better than Pittsburgh by almost a yard per rush. But the key to me is that Daniel Jones does not create turnover. He doesn't commit turnovers.
Yeah.
And maybe the only turnover they had this year was when who was it? The receiver fumbled the ball going into the end zone against the Rams. And that counts as a turnover.
Yeah.
But it's it's not really a turnover, but it is.
Right.
So I at this number, would I be surprised if Pittsburgh wins the game outright? No. But if I think if the better team's going to win this game, that's the Colts.
Yeah, I don't disagree there at all. So yeah, like I said, this is a tough one for me because you have matchup versus spot versus number, a lot of variables here. Nothing really lines up. But yeah, if you take the better team,
and maybe this is the first year, and I know they're 4-3 now, Pittsburgh. Maybe this is the first year Tomlin finally has an 8-9 season.
We'll see. Like I always said,
the only thing that keeps it positive is that the rest of the division is not playing well.
Yeah, that's true. I always say this. My father-in-law makes one bet every single year when I go to Vegas. He gives me $100. It says, Walt, put this on Steelers over, and he wins every single year. So hopefully it's 9-8 instead of 8-9 because the number was 8.5.
Okay, what's the point? What teams do after playing the Titans?
Yeah, I have that. I mean, you might have that too.
They are 2-5 straight up after Tennessee, 3-4 against the spread, 5-2 to the over.
Yeah, and you won't believe, Slew's asked this question, you won't believe 2 of those losses that they had. Week 3, their ATS loss was the Rams playing the Eagles. Of course, the blocked field goal return for a touchdown. Right. Week 4, was the Colts loss to the Rams when they dropped a touchdown. So it was two bogus results there, which could sway it. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, but how many of the wins were bogus wins? I mean, they all balance out over time, overall. So, I mean, and again, it should not be used as a handicapping factor, other than like this Jets thing with the Jets 7-0. Maybe there's something to it. I wouldn't make a play just based on it, though.
Yeah, their wins, by the way, the 44-10 Texans over Ravens. ATS win, but loss was Cardinals over Colts. That's the Brissett start, the first one, and then the latest win was Patriots over Browns, 32-13. But that was 9-7 at halftime. Okay, and we also had a question about here: how many times has Tomlin failed to cover 3 games in a row? So in his coaching career, when Tomlin has lost 2 ATS games in a row, he is 33-23 against the spread in that next game. So
that's after 2 consecutive
ATS losses.
Losses or pushes?
ATS against the spread losses.
Okay, no, so I'm saying that in other words, if it's loss, push, that's not 3 losses in a row.
No, I asked the query.
No. You didn't include pushes. You just included ATS.
Just ATS loss. Yeah, just ATS loss. So, it's
I'll tell you what. Last year they failed to cover their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, including a playoff game. So in 2023 they had a 3-game losing streak against the spread. In 22 they had a 4-game losing streak. Oh no, I'm sorry. Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong column there.
They
in
covered
2023 they did not. Yeah, in 2023 they had 3 losses in a row late in the season. In 2022 they had a push followed by 3 losses.
Yeah, and then
in 2021 they had a 3-game. They've had at least a 3-game ATS losing streak in each of the last 4 seasons, going back to 2021. In 2020 they had 4 ATS losses. In 2019 they lost against the spread their final 3 games of the season when they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I see that.
In 2018 they had a tie, push. I'm using Mark Lawrence's playbook, so the numbers could be off slightly with those pushes, but they did have 3 straight ATS losses in 2018. So it's almost looking like at least once a year he's going to lose 3 in a row against the spread. Or he has. He had 2017. He had 4 straight losses. Same thing in 2016 against the spread, and this book goes back to 2015. So in each of the last 10 years, you want to know the good news or the bad news? The bad news is he's had a 3-game ATS or 3-game or longer ATS losing streak in each of the last 10 years. The good news is it's only happened once in each of those seasons.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's still 33-23. He's still 33-23 against the spread.
But that's a lot. A lot of that goes. I wonder if that includes, and I don't know if it could, if it includes if you've lost 3 in a row, that you've also lost 2 in a row. So that next game would count. So when you lose 5 in a row, that's 3 of the losses right there.
Yeah, it keeps going. Yeah. I could set it to not say that exactly 2 in a row. Let me do that.
That would be a little bit more relevant, because if you're gonna be betting that Tomlin's going to have a losing streak, I'd rather know that it's an exactly 2. In other words, maybe 33-23, including every game. It might be 14-6 if you just limit it to 2.
Well, here it is. So limit to 2 ATS losses in a row. The third game, 12-15 against the spread.
So there you go.
So there you go. Yeah, like you said, that he loses 3 ATS losses in a row, and then he snaps it. So maybe like you said, maybe this is the time. And then who do they play in Week 10? They play the Chargers at San Angeles. 4.5 point underdogs. So maybe the Chargers win that one by 3 or something. Tomlin doesn't have the defense to stop Indy. Only hope is bad weather that slows Indy and gives the Steelers a chance. Yeah. I mean, look, you guys are right. This is the better team. There's no question about it. So
I still would not be surprised if the Steelers win. It would probably take an unusual number of mistakes by the by the Colts, and they just haven't made that many mistakes this year. Let me see if I've got the exact numbers. What are they? They are 6-2 or 7-1 now. So they play 8 games, and they lose an average of 1/2 turnover per game. So that means they've turned the ball over 4 times this year, and I'm guessing one of them includes that drop touchdown. That So I mean, that's what it would take. And they've been very good offensively, and part of it has to do because they don't turn the ball over, so they're able to either finish drives with scores or move downfield and or gain 20 yards from their own 10-yard line and punt or something. They've had success. And the Cleveland defense. Let me see what their rushing percentage is, because if they're able to run the ball a lot and tire that Cleveland defense, the Pittsburgh defense down. It looks like it's about average, about 46% of the time they rush. So
okay. I think you made some good points. Might end up on the Colts, but yeah, like I said, this is one of the tougher games I thought to handicap. But
I think if you like Pittsburgh, if you're going to bet Pittsburgh in this game, it almost has to be because of the situation.
I'm not,
because it's hard to find many numbers that support Pittsburgh as the play to win this game. And I mean, if you're talking about a 3-point dog, you're basically talking about winning, because the only way that they lose and cover is if Indianapolis wins by 1 or 2, which could happen. A missed 2-point conversion when you're down by 2 after a touchdown or something like that. If you're betting on Indianapolis, you're betting because they have shown to be. That doesn't mean they are, but they have shown to be and performed as the better team this year.
I think that it's 5% of the time it wins by 1 or 2. So
is that the favorite winning by 1 or 2, not the underdog?
Right. So
that's like, and people report, it's like, 18% of the time a game is decided by 3. Yeah, but it only matters if you're laying the 3 that it comes into play. How important is buying it down or up, etc. Because sometimes if the underdog wins by 3 exactly. They could be +1, they could +2, they could play +30. It's not going to have any impact on buying down to from -3 to -2.5 or -3.5 to -3. And I think it's about if I remember it's like 9% of the 15% of the time, let's say, that the game lands 3, about 9 of that 15% is the favorite winning by 3, and the other 6 would be the underdog winning by 3. So that's basically a 9 out of 15 is 60%. So 60% of the time when the game lands on 3, it's the favorite winning. I think those numbers are relatively accurate.
Okay, so we're talking about 6.5% chance to land on 1 or 2 in Indianapolis' favor. So I mean, it's still something. So I mean, if you think that's nothing, consider the difference between handicapping at 50% and 56%. So it's a big difference there. Let's get to the next game, which is Panthers at the Packers. This line is Packers -13.5. So it sounds like Bryce Young is going to play, and that is I would worry about his health. He had. I
was going to say that's good if you like Green Bay.
Well, Andy Dalton was so bad last week. I have not seen. Like, Andy Dalton had some good moments last year. This was his first game, though. First game that he prepared to be the starter. Yeah, he was so bad though.
And he's going up against a very good defense.
Right. It was terrible. But anyway, Andy Dalton was DNP in practice today anyway with a right thumb. Bryce Young full in practice. But
who's the number 3 quarterback?
It's a good question. I don't know. I have to look that up right now. But he was full in practice with a high ankle sprain. It's kind of weird. They don't have a third quarterback on the roster right now. So
whoever's on the practice squad, I guess.
Practice squad is Mike White. Did not know he was still in the NFL. That's kind of
last I remember, he was with Miami after he'd been with the Jets the year before, and actually played decently with the Jets.
Yeah, maybe he's better than Bryce Young, but a quarterback or any player coming off a high ankle sprain after 1 week seems sketchy to me.
Unusual,
Yeah, it seems very sketchy, and I don't expect them to be healthy, which is a big problem considering their offensive line, which suffered a lot of injuries. Their center, Cade Mays, got hurt last week with an ankle. Their tackle, Taylor Moton, he left the game with a knee injury. He didn't play in the second half. One of their other lineman, Brady Christensen, got hurt too. None of these guys practiced on Wednesday. So you have a team that could be down 3 offensive linemen potentially, and I think they have Robert Hunt still on IR. So really 4 offensive linemen down. Going against Micah Parsons and Devontae Wyatt, who returned last week. That seems like a nightmare matchup for Carolina, like an injured quarterback and no offensive line. Like, good luck. The Packers should be able to score pretty well. They're the number 1 or 2 defense, or number 1 or 2 offense in the NFL based on whatever metric you're looking at. Jordan Love completed 20 consecutive passes last week.
I'm sorry, what was that about the number 1 offense?
They have the number 1 or number 2 offense, depending on what metric you look at. Actually,
for the entire season, the Packers.
Yeah. They are
over their last X games.
They're number 3 since week 2. So that does not include.
Oh, that's right. You throw out week 1.
Yeah.
Which means you're throwing out their win against Detroit, which I thought was a legitimate win.
Yeah. So it could be. Although, I mean, Detroit was really kind of unprepared for that game with the 2 new coordinators. So, but yeah, if you include week 1, I'm sure it's number 1 or definitely number 2.
I'm showing that, well, for this season, using the standard metrics, they're number 7, and they're number 6 defensively. Points scored, they're number 5, number 10 defensively. Turnovers, they're number 2. They've only lost 3 all season. Let's see. However, they don't force turnovers. They're number 30. They've only forced 4 turnovers this year. Yeah. Number 16, running the ball. Number 3, defending the run. Number 7, passing the ball. Number 15, defending the pass. So that's a pretty good profile across the board, except for that one area where they where did I say they ranked 31st in or 30th in turnovers recovered.
Yeah.
So these are the primary metrics.
Right. So, EPA wise, they're 3rd, but like I said, I exclude week 1, which like the Chiefs are number 2, and so if you if you add in week 1, I think the Packers will be ahead of the Chiefs. So anyway,
by the way, I also look at yards per play. Offensively, they're number 5. Defensively, they're number 2. Yards per play differential, which is also a nice metric to use, they're number 2. The only team better than them would be Seattle.
Okay, interesting.
1.4.
Right. So yeah, we're talking about an offense that actually got an injection in talent with Christian Watson returning, and he looked good last week. Yeah. So I think the Packers win this one very easily. I don't see how the Panthers keep this close. Right. It would have to be some weird turnovers or fumble returns or kickoff returns or whatever. So I love Green Bay here. What do you think?
I don't know how much I love them because it's a big number, but it's the only side I could play in the game. Let me see if I can find where I put the sheet of paper here. I can let you know what I rated it, but I've misplaced it again. Oh no, here it is. Okay, right in the back where it should be. I went with. I actually took Carolina plus the points for some reason. I think I probably had it to do with the running game because the passing game is so uncertain with the health of the quarterbacks.
Okay.
Not a game I'm going to play, but I think I was looking for one decent sized underdog that at least had some of the fundamentals with the running game in this case to at least be competitive. And we've seen Carolina, play well.
Mm-hmm. Until last week, they kind of
well, they ran into a team that I think Buffalo could have done that to about 20 of the teams in the league last week.
Yeah, you don't think Green Bay could do that either? I feel like they could.
Their mindset. Look, who knows how how they are? They beat Aaron Rodgers. They we're happy about that. But Green Bay could do it. But this could be a game like when they hosted Cincinnati.
Yeah, I have more confidence in Cincinnati scoring than Carolina, considering the offensive line injuries and Bryce Young's health being a concern. My only worry with the Packers is that they play the Eagles next week on Monday Night Football, and like you said, they just beat Aaron Rodgers, so maybe a flat spot for them potentially. But
it's not the points that Carolina didn't score in that. That Cincinnati didn't score in the game. It was the fact that against that Cincinnati defense, Green Bay only scored 27 points with that talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Although with Christian Watson back, I think that could make a big difference. So, we'll see. Okay, so the next game is Vikings at the Lions. This line is Lions minus 8.5. I think this is
By the way, let me just mention in running, and this is a good matchup. Carolina's fifth in rushing the ball, 137 per game. Green Bay 3 in stopping the run at 79. So the key for Carolina, they have to come out passing and pass successfully. So that'll usually use the running game to set up the pass. Carolina's got to use the passing game to set up the run.
Yeah, well, if they fall behind, there's no running game at all, and I like I said, I worry about that offensive line of being able to do anything with all those injuries. Like it's just could be a disaster against Parsons and Wyatt. But anyway, speaking of offensive line injuries, we have this Vikings team that was down 3 offensive linemen on Thursday night when they lost Christian Darrisaw to injury. Now the good news, and maybe this is why it was bet down, Darrisaw is full in practice. Brian O'Neill limited in practice. So the Vikings could maybe only be down 1 offensive lineman in Ryan Kelly. So that would be really good news for them because they've had offensive line injuries all year. It's been horrible for them. Now McCarthy is returning. I don't have.
That was interesting because in the battle of the mash units last week with the 2 offensive line, it was the Chargers and the Vikings. The Chargers did not seem to have any issues last week.
Well, they got Joe Alt back, so that was huge for them. Anyway, so Minnesota being healthy on the offensive line makes me less bullish on Detroit, but I still think Detroit has a couple of great matchups here to take advantage of offensively. They should be able to just run all over Minnesota. Minnesota's run defense has been terrible. And also, Jared Goff, he is so good against the blitz. He's when you look at disparity between blitzed and non-blitzed, he's up there amongst the quarterbacks being much better when blitzed. Like when he's blitzed this year, he completes 75% of his passes on a 9.2 YPA, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. And his YPA is like 7 point something when he is not blitzed. So and I say that because Minnesota blitzes more than any other team in the NFL. It's what Brian Flores does. And it's kind of like why Detroit scored 31 twice against Minnesota last year, despite Minnesota having a good defense. It just seems like Detroit has figured this team out. Whereas Minnesota with McCarthy, I don't know. But like I said, earlier in the week, I thought they might be down all their linemen, but now that's seemingly not the case. So maybe they can get a little here and there against Detroit, but Detroit's defense is playing so well right now. So
that's the problem. Yeah. My problem with Minnesota is that offense.
Yeah. But we haven't seen Minnesota play with its entire offensive line intact, or maybe just one lineman down. I think the only game we saw that was the.
Well, by the way, if that's the case, that's not a good sign because it means Minnesota's not making good adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're down both tackles,
well, you still got other players in there. You know, and if you can't make an adjustments and you see the same thing over and over and over again, it means you're not evaluating talent very well.
Yeah. It's still hard to play without both your tackles. Look at the Chargers.
I see this. Doesn't 8.5 seem like a lot for a division game? What was Indianapolis favored by last week against Tennessee?
More than 8.5.
15, I think it was. Yeah. It depends on the matchup. Now, you would normally say, doesn't 8.5? It does seem like a lot for this matchup. And you and I talked about it. I think we alluded to it earlier at the very start before we talked about it. We said we get to that in this game at some point anyway. And that is last year with the division title on the line. Detroit dominated 31. That's the second time. 31-9. They held that Minnesota offense to 9 points. And I think that was the first of the 2 bad games that Darnold played at the end of the year. But I think it also just exposed some of Minnesota's overall issues. They have not been very good at running the football this year. 94 yards per game, that ties them for 25th. They allow 130. By the way, the average team per game rushes for 114 yards. Of course, that has to be taken into context of, well, let me see if I have the average yards per rush league-wide is about 4.4 is the average yards per rush. Okay, so it could be a little bit different, but 114 per game. So you have a team in Detroit that's exceeding that. They average 134. And a team that's exceeding it the wrong way, allowing 130. And meanwhile, Minnesota's averaging 94 yards per game. Detroit allows 88 rushing yards per game. And both they're pretty average against the pass. Detroit almost exactly on average as far as yards go. So I like Detroit in this game. They're playing well. They rebounded from that win again, that loss at Kansas City, with that win against Tampa Bay the following week on the Monday night. What was that, 24-9, I think, something like that. I just think Detroit's the better football team, and look, they need to keep pace with Green Bay.
Yeah,
because they lost to them earlier. If they can now, of course, Green Bay has that tie in there. What's Green Bay, 6-1-1?
5-1-1.
5-1, and Detroit's 6-2. Okay, so they need to keep pace with Green Bay. They need to remain no more than one loss behind Green Bay to have a chance to even things up.
Yeah, they're 5-2, not 6-2. But yeah,
5-2. Yeah, and they're still going to have to make up a game because of that tie.
Yeah,
that Green Bay.
Yeah,
has.
well, I mean, they play each other on Thanksgiving, I believe. So they'll have the chance there. I looked this up, by the way. The question, does an 8.5 seem like a lot for a divisional game? Since 2010, I like to go 2010.
Yeah.
Divisional underdogs of 8.5 or more are 128 and 144 against the spread. That's 47.1% cover rate.
Yeah. That basically justifies 8.5 as being a reasonable price to lay globally.
Yeah, 2-3, by the way, this year. 2-3 against the spread. The winners against the spread were the Dolphins in that Thursday night game against the Bills, and the 49ers in their upset win over the Rams, also on a Thursday night.
What was Indianapolis favorite over Tennessee in their first meeting at Tennessee? Probably not 7.5.
No, it was like 3.5 or something, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
I think wasn't that week 2 or maybe week 3.
It's week 3 because week 2 is the Rams played the Titans. So yeah, it was week 3. The line is 4. Is 4.
Okay.
So the losers this year here were week 2 when the Browns played the Ravens, which actually was a close game for a while. The Raiders against the Chiefs, 31-0, and then last week the Titans against the Colts. So. So 2 and it's like 47% of the time. So, all right, let's get to the next.
Well, the
game.
thing that you said is, you said it's what did you say the record was?
128 and 144 against the spread.
That's 272 games over roughly a 15-year period.
6 pushes 2. So yeah.
Okay, so what do we say? 270. So that's roughly I don't know, between 15 and 20 occurrences per year. And there are, I think, let me see, what is it? 6 times 8 is 40. There are, I think, 96 division games per year.
Yeah. And by the way, straight up 38 and 239. So they win 13.7% of the time.
Oh.
Here. Okay. Anyway, let's get to the next game, which is Broncos at the Texans. I believe the Broncos were favored earlier in the week, and now the Texans are favored by.
By the way, that's 48 division games. I think.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, the Broncos are now underdogs to Houston. Now, I think this is not a good spot for the Texans. Like 2 weeks ago, they played the Seahawks. I like the Seahawks. One of the reasons why, because I thought Houston's offensive line is very sketchy, and playing against the number 2 pressure rate team in the NFL in Seattle was just going to be a rough matchup. And last week, I liked the Texans because they were playing against San Francisco, which couldn't pressure the quarterback. So I thought Stroud would have time. Now they're playing against the number 1 pressure team in the NFL. So that seems like a nightmare for Houston. However, you also have Bo Nix against Houston's defense too, which also doesn't seem very appealing to me. I feel like this is going to be low.
But it's more appealing than Stroud against the Denver defense. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a low scoring game where every point matters and you get plus 1.5. That could end up factoring in. So this is a tough handicap for me. I back Denver. What do you think about this game?
I like Denver. I like them quite a bit here. You can talk about the pressure and the sacks and everything. Denver, if looking at all 32 teams here, they average 4.5 defensive sacks per game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For 27 yards lost on sacks per game, both of which lead the league. Now let me see. Did anybody else average over 4 4 sacks per game? No. There are a few that are in the mid to upper threes, not very many. So, how many times has Stroud been sacked this year?
I don't have that
Let me see if
on
I can
me.
call that up.
Okay, we can ask Google
But
and it'll be wrong.
yeah, but it's it's a bad matchup, I think, for Houston. Now let me see what the advanced number was on this game, because the lines maker.
Yeah, I think it was 1.5 the other way. I think Denver was minus
Yeah,
1.5.
that's what I want to take a look at, because the lines maker was correct in making Houston the favorite against San Francisco, and
Hmm.
it didn't really seem, even with the injuries. Let's see. The advanced line actually had. Oh, I'm showing you the Westgate had it at pick, and then
Okay.
Denver, when the line came out on Sunday night, Denver was the 1 point favorite.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe people are. I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe, we thought Houston had developed some momentum, and then they went out and they played a better team up in Seattle and lost.
Hmm.
Now this game is at home, and let me see if I got any numbers that any of those secondary numbers that jump
Yeah.
out at me as far as those metrics. And looking here, Denver averages 5 yards per rush. Excuse me. Houston is good against the rush, decent against the pass. Yards per play numbers, offensive and defense, are very, very similar. They both average 1 turnover loss per game. Houston has forced about twice as many turnovers defensively. So the number seems, Pick'em seems like a pretty good number. But again, that glaring statistic is that Denver averages 2 sacks more per game than
Hmm.
that Denver averages 2 sacks more per game than Houston does. And let me see. The other thing is Houston does not have a very strong running game. They're middle of the pack. Denver's averaging 138 yards per game. That's number 3. Both teams allow Houston 88 yards, Denver 95 yards. So they're both good defending the run. The difference is one team on offense can run, the other team can't.
Right. Right. Yeah. I do think Denver's the better team here. So looks like we're both on Denver. You like
Well,
them?
the only thing is, and I looked at it earlier, who these teams play next week.
Okay.
And let me see if I've got that here. I got to look at.
Yeah, Denver plays the Raiders on Thursday night. And the Texans host the Jaguars.
Yeah, I thought they both had division games next week.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they may both have division games for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't look at week 11 yet, so I don't have that loaded up.
Let me see week 11 here. Let's see, Denver. Yeah, Denver plays Kansas City in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And Houston. Let me see who they play, because they don't have a bye. Yeah, Houston plays Tennessee, so they do have double division games coming up the next 2 weeks. So no real advantage there, or disadvantage.
Yeah. Bowden explained the stadium he's never played before. Texans just trying to keep the momentum at home. Seems like easy favorability. I mean, I don't know. Like, if you never played in a stadium before, does that really factor in?
I think it's a little bit less important than not having faced that quarterback before.
Right. That's true. Yeah. So
I don't know if did they play last year.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Probably not, unless they played that division. Let me get out of here, because I think Houston was a division winner 2 years ago, and Denver clearly was not a division winner last 2 years ago, because Kansas City was. So let me see what I have here on Denver and Houston. Denver and Houston.
No, they did not.
Last played in 2023.
Okay, yeah, they didn't play last year.
And Denver won that one at Denver.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, Stroud's rookie year that year. Okay, so anyway, let's get to the next game, which is Chargers at the Titans. This line is Chargers minus 9.5. There are some 8.5s out there, but looks like the money printing press is back. As I say, just fade the Titans every week, and you'll be rich. That's how it's been this year. They didn't they covered against Arizona using the Amari DeMarcado drop ball, the interception kicked into the end zone. Otherwise, they have not covered a single spread this year, unless you got the late number against Denver. But that's it. They have not covered any single spread this year. They are the worst team in the NFL. They can't do anything. They can't throw. They can't run. They can't block. They can't get to the quarterback. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. They don't have a head coach. They don't have an offensive line head coach or offensive line coach. They're missing their best player, Jeffrey Simmons. Outside of that, they're not bad, but like they don't have anything else going on. And the Chargers are at full strength again now that they have Joe Alt playing. Khalil Mack returned 2 weeks ago, but he only played 10 snaps last week. He played a full complement of snaps and looked good. Denzel Perriman, same thing. He returned to week 7, did not look good. He played week 8 again, looked much better. This Charger team, I think, is going to be the same one we saw start 3-0 against the divisional games, and then they fell apart because Alt got hurt in the 8th play of week 4. They're at full strength now. Jim Harbaugh typically squashes these horrible teams, and the Chargers, Andy got disconnected. So there we go.
No, the camera turned off because it was frozen, so I had to.
Okay. Anyway, so Jim Harbaugh plays well in these early road games at 1 o'clock. I know this is not East Coast, but still, I like the Chargers a lot here. What do you think?
Yeah, they're in good form again. Tennessee is not. You take a look at the top 10 offense for the Chargers. One of the bottom offenses for Tennessee. Tennessee defensive yards per play, also very near the bottom for Tennessee, near the top for the Chargers. Almost all the numbers make a strong case for the Chargers here to go out and win again. This team will be motivated every week because they're contending with Kansas City and Denver for the division title. And where do you make up games? You make up games against non-division opponents because obviously the division game, there's going to be a winner and a loser that'll affect both teams as far as the win-loss column is concerned. So I think that if you're a quality team, if you're a playoff team, and the Chargers certainly are, and certainly when as healthy as they are now, you have to take advantage of these situations. You can't overlook an opponent. And what do we say? Denver plays the Raiders and the Chiefs, I think.
Yeah.
The next 2 weeks.
Yes.
Denver has to figure. That Denver game is that. The Kansas City game is at home, I think.
I don't know. I didn't look at
let me check again. In any event, you'd have to think that whether it's home or away, they're probably going to go 1-1 in those games. They should beat the Raiders. They could lose to the Chiefs. So this game here gives them a chance to go 2-1 over the next 3 weeks. And Kansas City has its challenging game this week at Buffalo, a game they could lose. So this is an important one for the Chargers to maintain a little distance in the division because they are 3-0 in divisional play.
That's true. Yeah. All right. So you like the Chargers as well.
By the way, the Denver hosts Kansas City in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And they host the Raiders Thursday.
Okay. Yeah.
So by the way, keep that in mind. I'm sure we'll talk about it. That does mean Denver has that extra city since they play Thursday against the Raiders.
Well, they'll need it. Kansas City looks great right now. But they'll come up soon in this conversation.
Yep.
The next game, as we move to the 4 o'clock slate, I don't know why this is on Atlantic time here at 5:05, which is strange. But I remember that for my trip to Bermuda for my honeymoon. Atlantic time was so weird. Anyway, Jaguars at the Raiders. This line is Jaguars -3.
What time did you say it's on?
Bermuda's on. Sorry.
No, the Jacksonville and Vegas.
So this says 5:05 p.m. It's
Eastern time.
It's showing Atlantic. 5:05 would be Atlantic time.
Yeah, Atlantic time, middle of the ocean.
Bermuda, and that's it. Basically.
Newfoundland or something like that.
Yeah, Newfoundland, Bermuda. Yeah. It was weird. Like the stock market would open 10:30. There is a little weird. Anyway, I like I'm looking at the injury report, and I'm seeing Max Crosby as DNP, and I'm like, okay, their defense was already bad with Crosby. It's the same thing with the Bengals and Hendrickson. So if Crosby's out, that's a big deal. And obviously Colton Miller's still going to be out. He's on IR. He's not going to play for a few weeks. So they're missing the best offensive lineman for sure, and maybe their best defensive lineman. The good news for the Raiders, though, Brock Bowers has practiced fully. So is Jacoby Myers. So unless Myers is traded, he will be on the field. So that at least something there. So this is not like a total
Well,
slam
when's
dunk.
the trading deadline? Next Tuesday?
I believe it's like November, whatever that Tuesday is, November 6th.
4th.
November 4th. November 4. Yeah.
Yeah, election day, Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I would like to think if the Raiders are going to trade him, they won't trade Myers until he contributes to them to a game that they, in theory, can win.
Right. We fall back Saturday night. Okay, that's why they're listing it like that. Okay, that's true. I hate this fall back stream for. I always hated it, and I hate it more with kids now because they don't realize it, and it messes up their sleep schedule. So, anyway, so I'm leaning Jaguars right now, but I'm not enthused to back Jacksonville as a road favorite. What do you think about this game?
No, I like the Raiders here. I think they've had the time to prepare. This is a first year coach at Jacksonville, so it's his first time dealing with a bye. Of course, Pete Carroll's had years and years to deal with byes and get his team prepared. I don't know. Let me see if I can find out what his record is. Although I think this book only takes a look at with the current team, so it wouldn't have a history with the Raiders. But I
can look that up.
With the offensive line not injuries, but problems that they've had 2 weeks to work on, have some sort of resolution and some sort of making some adjustments in Geno Smith's game. I'm on the Raiders here.
Pete Carroll 4-7 against the spread off a bye with Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's too small of a sample there, but
yeah. Parents say 5.
Now this is interesting. Yeah.
Straight up.
0-4 the last 4 seasons, but
Yeah.
Different team.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, different team. Yeah, you're right. Not a game I'm dying to bet here. No. Anyway, we have Saints at Rams. So Rams are -14.
Rookie quarterback making debut.
Yeah. Which it may not be that bad for the Saints because the Rams don't have any film on this guy. And who knows? I mean, look, he was the 40th overall pick. Maybe he could be good. I don't know. I have my doubts, but the Rams are not going to have any film on this guy, and this is a tough spot for the Rams. Their next 2 games are against the Niners and the Seahawks.
Well, they for whatever it's worth, they do have the college film to at least understand his style, what kind of offenses he fares well against, what kind of defenses he struggles against, etc.
Sure, and they have a lot of college film because he was in college for a long time. So I'm worried about the spot though more than anything else. San Francisco and Seattle next on deck for the Rams, and they could lose this game and be fine. Like they'll win the division if they win their next 2 games.
Yeah, but they could also lose. They could also win this game and have a little bit of leeway if they happen to go 1-1 in the next 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely.
It's a game. It's a. I hate to use the word because it sounds like I'm sort of, conceding here, but it's just like a gimme win for the Rams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, there's no such thing in the NFL as a gimme win, as the Atlanta Falcons can tell you last week, and other teams can tell you throughout the. Look at the number of the survivor field was cut in half last week, from like 4,100 to about 2,000 and something. You see now the one game that that cost a lot of people was when the 49ers beat the Rams on that Thursday night game. But I could understand that. There's a division rivals. They know each other. And, the main factor working against the 49ers was their injury issue. Yeah. But they have the familiarity with the personnel. So we do have kind of upsets like that, but this one does not seem to fit into that category. One thing that New Orleans has done is they are amongst the best in the league, allowing yards per completion, 9.03. I think that, let me see, Cleveland is a little bit lower than the 9.03, and that's it. So the Saints are number 2 as far as the least average yards per completion that they allow.
Interesting. Yeah, that's where I wonder, the caliber of passing that they have faced there. But, like week 1 comes to mind. Like I know they played Arizona week 1, and They had Tampa last week, but the Tampa's receivers were all injured. So, I don't know. I know they played the Bears and the Giants, and they did play the Bills. So, anyway, I'm leaning. Despite the scheduling quirk here for the Rams, I'm still leaning toward them. I don't have any confidence in the Saints blocking because they don't have their center, Eric McCoy, and when you have injured linemen on a line that's not playing well to begin with, you have the Rams pass rushers is really good. It feels like they should be able to handle the Saints pretty easily. As long as this is under 14 or under, I think this is fine. Creeps into 14.5 territory. That's when I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'd want to bet this one, but I would bet the Rams lightly.
What's the percentage of games that land on 14 won by the favorite?
I have that here. It is where is it?
1%.
It's 2%,
maybe.
It's like 5%. When the line is in double digits, it's 5%.
No, I'm just saying how many games are decided by 14 points.
Exactly 14.
Exactly 14.
When there's a double digit line, it's the favorite.
No, I'm just saying. Regardless of the line.
Regardless of the line.
Regardless of the line, how many games fall on 14?
Well, let's see, about 4, about probably like 4%. It is the number 4 key number. It's the fourth most likely result of any NFL game.
Yeah, so 4% would be 1 out of 25. That's quite a bit.
Yeah. And it's higher when there's a double digit line because the teams are more likely to win by 14 if there's a double digit line than if there's a single digit line, like a very low line, so it just grows exponentially. So anyway, I know 14 is definitely a key number there. So I like the Rams, but I don't love them. What do you think about this game?
I have a lean. Like I said, like you do for your website, I do for my newsletter. I got to put opinion up on every game. I do it with featured games that I write up, best of the rest, which are playable opinions, and then lanes, which means flip a coin, you'll have the same amount of success. I have the Rams as a lean.
Okay, Rams is lean.
Yeah,
okay.
I rarely make confident plays with double-digit lines. Because if it's a double-digit line that indicates a huge disparity, whether it be a road favorite double-digit or a home favorite, it usually indicates a great disparity between the teams, and often it's a question of how well the team that is the big favorite decides to play that day. Because if there's a 14-point line, it suggests that they could win by 20. If the underdog puts in a lot of preparation and it looks at a key game for them, they might be able to stay under the number, especially if they have come from behind or garbage time ability.
Yeah.
So I can't generally have it with I would say it's probably about 90% of the time that there's a double-digit line that I have it in that lean category.
Well, I love my double-digit lines. I think I'm more likely to bet. I feel like I'm more likely to bet them than the single-digit lines. So
favorite or dog?
The favorite, definitely the favorite.
Oh, okay.
It's back in the day before 2010, it was the underdog. But ever since they canceled practices for teams, it feels like the bad teams can't prepare well for the good teams, and they need all the practices that they can get, and they don't get them. So
yeah,
I think the NFL's changed that way, and I don't know if they've taken enough into account about that. So I don't know. Maybe it'll swing back eventually, but we'll see what they do with the next CBA. Saints defense better than the record. They have pieces to keep this ball game is concerned. I don't know. I mean, they've gotten blown out quite a bit. They have played some close games. Generally, with the Saints, I found that when they can run, they can keep games close because that means they don't have to put as much on their quarterbacks. Like last week, I loved the Bucks, and then Vita Vea was DMP on Thursday and Friday, and so I backed off a little bit, and I still bet the Bucks, but a little bit, but I didn't have them as the top play anymore. Lo and behold,
which game was that? The Tampa
Saints Bucks last week.
Okay, yeah.
But lo and behold, Vita Vea played, and
lo
and behold, he played, and the Saints couldn't run. But in this game, you have the Rams, which the Rams' run defense has been all over the place this year. They started off very, very well, and then they had this stretch where they couldn't stop the run. and then in their last game they put the clamps on ATN. So I don't know. It's like whichever Rams defense stands up. If it's the one with the good run defense, they'll blow them out. If it's the one with the bad run defense, then maybe the Saints will hang around. I don't know which Rams defense we're going to see. So, that really depends on that. So, all right. The big game of the week.
Yeah. By the way, if I were to play the game, as I mentioned, I would lean Rams. But again, I think there are games that I have more confidence in.
Okay, 3 more to go. Chiefs at the Bills. This line is Chiefs -2. So road favorite Kansas City here, and that has to do with Kansas City being very hot. Their offense looks great for the first time in years. They've kind of skated by winning by 3, a lot last year, but that's not happening anymore. Their offense is just like high octane right now. They're blocking very well. Even though they were missing 2 linemen last week, they're still blocking very well. They have Rashee Rice back. Travis Kelce looks in shape. Xavier Worthy's implemented into the offense. So Kansas City's offense looks really good. And Buffalo's defense is very sketchy right now because Matt Milano has been out. Ed Oliver.
What's the injury report on them right now, midweek?
Yeah, the Bills. So Ed Oliver is going to miss time, so he's definitely going to be out. The Matt Milano missed last week's game, and on Wednesday, Matt Milano he was actually full in practice on a Wednesday, so that's actually a bullish indication. But we've seen Matt Milano come back for 1 or 2 games and struggle, and then get great again. So I'm not too optimistic about him playing well in his first game back, even if he does play. Daquan Jones, their other defensive tackle, he is out. He was DNP, so the Bills could be without the 2 top defensive tackles in this game, which does not bode well against Kansas City's interior line, which is pretty good. So I like Kansas City in this game. I know the Bills have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. Over the past several years, they kind of built their team to do that, and they added pass rushers this offseason to do that. But Kansas City's blocking is so much better than it was last year. That just makes all the difference. So I'm going to be on the Chiefs here. What do you think about this game?
Well, I'm going to be on the Bills. Let's take a look at Kansas City in this well-played stretch that they've had. After losing to the Eagles, they beat the Giants. Yay. They beat the banged up Ravens.
Yep.
I mean, it's a nice win, but it's not the same. It's almost like the Buffalo team right now. They lost at home to the Jaguars in a close game. Jacksonville's improved. They did have a nice win against the Lions, and then of course that 31-0 blowout over the Las Vegas high school team that I think is nicknamed the Raiders, and then the Commanders. Monday night. So they haven't beaten great teams. I'm not sure where you put Buffalo in there. They're great. Yeah. I mean, they still have that. But see, and the way that I look at it is there are certain teams, and some of them when they're healthy, some of them all the time, that anytime they take the field, they can win a game. Kansas City is such a team. Detroit, I think, is such a team. Green Bay could be considered such a team. Buffalo pretty much could be considered, even with the defensive injuries, still a team because they can outscore you, and I know there's a difference in the defense here. Now, we didn't know the serious issues that Baltimore was going to have, but if you go back to that first Sunday night game, Baltimore was a 1.5-point road favorite at Buffalo. And, of course, they led the game, and Buffalo made that great comeback as far as winning that game 41-40, which was, according to some, the best game in history. Most entertaining game in history until the following week, and the Cowboys and the Giants played that 40-37 overtime game, and then they had that crazy game the next week and all that. So in any event, I almost have to, by instinct, take the Buffalo Bills in this game because of all the factors that I mentioned. What's the prognosis on Pacheco for the Chiefs?
Pacheco's out. It's going to be Kareem Hunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a bigger workload. Although I guess they got a couple of others in there can get some snaps in there. But no, it's almost. I'm not going to say it's an automatic play, but as long as Josh Allen is healthy and can do so much and playing at home and wanting to build upon the momentum, I think we saw. I think when they came out against Carolina following a bye, we just saw a very confident, arrogant, confident, arrogant, and determined Buffalo team. Now, yeah, it was Carolina, but they still slowed down a Carolina running game that had been running wild the previous few weeks, so there was a little bit of a positive there. And again, maybe that had something to do with the time spent during the bye week. So I would not be surprised if either team won this game. And of course, these things could get out of hand, so it could be a 10-14 point win or something like that. But you get me Buffalo with that fan base, every bit as good as Kansas City's. And the thing is, they needed that win against Carolina, kind of like in the worst way, because they were coming off those two losses. The New England loss and the Atlanta loss.
Yeah.
And they go into the bye. And this conceivably could be, especially with Kansas City's 0-2 start, this could conceivably be a determining factor for the bye week in the AFC for the number one seed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we get the best effort from both of these teams. It's easy to make a case for Kansas City being favored, and let me just see what the advanced line at the Westgate was on this game. I think Kansas City was still a very slight. Kansas City was that game actually. Westgate did, I think, a smart thing. They opened at Pick'em.
Yeah.
And when they reposted it after last week's results with Buffalo's blowouts and Kansas City, and this I think is after Kansas City won the game against Washington, they did put Kansas City as a 1.5 point favorite. So a little bit of money has come in on Kansas City on the road, but I will be on Buffalo.
Okay. So opposite sides in this game. We did have a question about the teaser. How about a 6-point teaser? Detroit down to 2.5, Denver up to plus 7.5. What do you think about that? As long as you don't have to pay.
Yeah, I don't mind Denver up to 7.5. Detroit down to below 3, I guess, is reasonable below a field goal. Look, you could put Buffalo in there if you want. Tease them up to plus 8, I guess, if you use a 6-point teaser. Let me see. There really aren't any other ones. I guess you could do New England if the line goes to 6, get them down to pick them. I would not, at 9.5, maybe you could tease the Chargers down to, they'd have to go to 8.5 to get under 3, unless you did a 7-pointer. But you really don't have we have a lot of really small favorites this week. Let me see, under 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8.
You could go Arizona plus 8.5 too. If you wanted, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
But the important thing is, if you're doing a teaser, make sure you're not paying minus 130. Pay minus 130 or 120 or less. The sportsbooks here are ripping.
125 is marginal, but there should be 120s out there.
Yeah, exactly. Should I trade away Bucky?
Oh, by the way, you're talking about 6-point teasers.
Yeah, 6 point. Yeah. Should I trade away Bucky for Genty? I'm 2-6.
Just like the Raiders.
I mean, you're trading running back for running back, so I don't know what you're gaining here. You
have to believe that Genty playing for the Raiders, unless something dramatic happens, they're not going to be running the ball as much as you would like to see. I think Bucky might be running the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, Bucky should be back after
usage.
The bye, So I'd rather trade Bucky. I tried to trade Bucky for Chase Brown and BTJ. The guy accepted it. Then the day after, he regretted it and told people to veto it. I hate that. A veto should only be for completely unbalanced.
Collusion or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Even unbalanced, and that had to be grossly unbalanced because your opinion. Some people want to may have a good opinion on a guy who other people think is pretty lame. Other people say, I want to. I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I want Lions on my team, regardless of good or not. So worth and value is there's no universal number that everyone can agree on. Right.
I hate leagues that have vetoes like that. I get having them, but like this, that's so egregious like that. I think it's terrible. So,
well, what the way to do is you limit it. You get 2 vetoes a year.
Yeah, you could do that, I suppose.
So exercise your use of them carefully.
What we did was my league, a league I used to be in a long time ago. We would have I'd have a guy. I used to have a guy write fantasy content for me. And so they had him be the consultant. So anytime there was a trade, they would send it to him and they would ask if it's unbalanced, and he would say yes or no. And so
How often did he say yes? How often did he say no?
I don't think he ever said no.
Roughly.
I mean, I don't think there's ever an unbalanced trade. So I don't think he ever vetoed anything. If there's collusion, he certainly would have said yes. I mean, he knew what he was doing. He's a really good. He was a great fantasy writer. So, I think he works with drafting.
I'll trade Caleb Williams for Shedeur Sanders. That might be
Caleb's not. I feel like you need a better quarterback than Caleb for that to be that lopsided. Because you could argue like, hey, Shedeur gets in there, maybe he does something better than Caleb. You know, I don't think he will, but it's within the realm of possibility given that Caleb Williams he once again had that brain fart last week in the final drive, which he had twice last year. So 3 different coaches, same brain farts with him. Anyway, the Sunday night game, we have Seahawks at Washington. Seahawks are -3. The big deal here is that Jaden Daniels practiced fully today.
And McLaurin is out.
Laramie Tunsil also did not practice. So some good and some bad.
Tunsil is what, questionable?
I suppose so, but he got hurt Monday night and then he didn't practice today. It's still early in the week, but the big takeaway is Jaden Daniels practiced fully. And if Jaden Daniels is on the field and we get +3 at home against a non-elite team, I like Washington quite a bit here. We get some good line.
Why do you not consider? How do you not? Or why don't you put? So it tells me that you have Seattle in the Group B, not the Group A.
I've Seattle Group C.
Whoa.
I don't think they're that good.
What don't you like about them?
They played one team above Group C this year. One team.
Well, that's based on your, on your. Well, let me ask you on your ABCs. Do you use metrics or is there some subjectivity in there as well?
I use everything. I don't know. I look at the metrics. I look at like the film I watch. It's everything. And just compile it together. And I try to do my best to make a good groupings and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll get stuff wrong from time to time, and I'll make adjustments.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying that I would think that Seattle would have to be at worst a B team.
But they have not played anyone above Group C yet. So like, what's the evidence there? And they're 0-1 against the Group B team.
Who's the B team?
The Niners in Week 1 when the Niners are healthy.
Well, they're 0-1, but it was a 4-point game. That's a competitive game. Just happened to be on the wrong
side. But they lost by 4 at home in a game that Kittle got hurt early. And I don't know.
You downgrade the new. What was it? What happened in the New England game?
New England game. Which one was that?
No, I'm not thinking. I'm thinking Pittsburgh. I'm thinking Seattle at Pittsburgh.
I've had Pittsburgh as a C team all year. They beat. Okay, they played the Steelers Group C, Arizona Group C, Tampa Group C.
Where do you have Washington right now?
Group C. With Daniels there, Group C. So I rate them evenly, Seattle and Washington. And so going on, they played the Jaguars Group C, they played the Texans Group C, and then they beat the Saints Group F. So they
how about Washington?
How about Washington? What?
Who have they played?
Let's look. So they played 2 Group A teams. They lost to both, but
which were the teams?
The Packers and the Chiefs, but the Chiefs game they didn't have Daniels, so can't really take too much out of that. And then they played a bunch of Group C teams as well. They played Atlanta without Daniels, the Chargers, which they won 27-10. Chicago, they lost by 1, but they gave that game away. And then they lost to Dallas, but Daniels got hurt in the third quarter there. They beat 2 Group D teams, the Giants and the Raiders.
You have the Giants as a B team?
D. Sorry,
D. Okay.
D's and dog.
And who was the other one? Who was the other one?
The Raiders.
You don't have them as an E, as an F?
Well, maybe they'd be F now. No, they're not F. They're not F now.
Why? What have they done? I mean, that game against Kansas City. I mean, you can't get any worse than that.
Well, they didn't have. Well, they didn't have. Well, they lost. They lost.
Doesn't matter. You're an NFL team. You can gain 25 yards a quarter. You can have more than 30 offensive plays in a game.
I do think the Raiders are an F team that week, but I think
from the year. Look at those. Look at the pressure look at the performance of Geno Smith, the offensive line. Look at the running game. Genty hasn't done anything.
What? Well, I mean, he had a great game against the Bears.
That's one game.
Yeah.
Out of the 6 or 7 that they played, 6, 7 games that they played.
I think they were a Group D team when they had Colton Miller and Max Crosby healthy, but they don't have those guys right now. At least they don't have Miller right now. No. But I think with Miller, they at least had a good lineman at least.
But they were still going with poorly outplayed in a lot of games. It's one thing. We can always talk about this player, that player, the other player. It's what the team does collectively, because you get to replace him. You lose a star wide receiver, you get to plug someone in. May not be as experienced, as good, but over a course of 70 or 80 snaps over a game, you are what you are. Everyone jokes about Bill Parcells, but what he was saying is, the way they're a better team than their record. Well, how come they're not in the playoffs? Because they didn't win the games they should have won, because they're the better team than the teams that they lost to.
Yeah, I think that was a terrible quote by Parcells.
I think it was a brilliant quote.
I think it's a fine quote for the players, but for us handicappers, I think it's a joke, because
he wasn't doing it for the handicappers.
Well, right, but I'm not a player.
But the same principles apply, because bad teams find ways to lose games they should win. Good teams find ways to win games they should lose, and they all count the same.
Well, a classic example is last week. I had so many people ask me, why are the Ravens favorite of the Bears? The Ravens are 1-5. The Bears are 4-2. I'm like, well, records don't mean anything. It's like you can't look at records. I actually think record. I love.
Well, remember, Baltimore got a lot of players back that caused that 2-5 record or 1-5 record or whatever it was.
Yeah, but according to Parcells, they were a 1-5 team.
Yeah. And as far as making the playoffs, they're always going to be that team that started 1-5. But as handicappers, we don't care what the records are.
Right, we're not players; we're handicappers.
Right. But we still have to. We still have to analyze. We still have to analyze those results, because the results mean something. A 1-5 team that should be 5-1 is still playing a meaningful game when you're 1-5 against a game that they could take off if they were 5-1.
Yeah,
so they play with a little bit of urgency, and they have a better opportunity to play well, because they are a better team than that record shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
will say this: the Raiders' one game against Group F team was the Titans. They beat the Titans by 10. So I think they were markedly better than.
So they're an F plus.
Plus, maybe D- or D whatever D-. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, look, regardless, I personally think with Daniels, has to be Daniels.
Yeah.
With Daniels, I think Seattle and Washington are even. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But
by the way, I'm on Washington on this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying that Seattle is a better team than where do you have Indianapolis ranked?
Group B.
What could they do that they haven't done to be a Group A? What would you need to see them do?
I need to see them beat a good team. They're this exactly like Seattle. They played.
What's Denver? A good team? Are they a B team?
That's a tough one. I have them as C at the moment. I don't really trust them. But
Denver's a C?
Yeah. You don't like that?
No, not at all.
What have they done?
Not with that defense.
A defense that because allowed 1 million points to the Giants. I don't know.
Well, they also came back to win that game. Again, we're being selective. I could make a case for Kansas City being a lousy team. Look how they started the season, 0-2.
Yeah, no.
And where do you have the Chargers, A or B?
B.
Okay. And who did they lose their other game to? They lost to Denver, right?
The
No,
Chargers beat Denver.
no. Who did Kansas City lose that second game to?
The Eagles.
Okay, you have them as an A.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Chiefs losses were the two of the three losses were to the Chargers and the Eagles to start the year. And
And who was the
lost
other loss?
The Jaguars lost, which they threw that one away. But
well, there you go. So you're saying Kansas City is an A team because even though they lost to the lowly Jaguars.
Well, they went back to beat the Lions by 13 the next week.
No, well, see, you see that's it. You're changing the ratings every week.
Oh no, I'm not. I've had the Chiefs in Group A the whole time
since the start of the year.
Yeah.
You weren't concerned after they lost those first two games?
No.
Okay.
No,
what's their point spread record?
Well, I guess the Group A teams are 1-2, 2-2, 2-3.
Kansas City is actually 5-3. Yeah, they're 5-3. So they are making money for us, for you, whoever. I've been on
5-1 since week 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've rebounded nicely. I mean, at the time when they're 0-2, I'm like, you know what? They still have the best coach in the NFL. They still have the best quarterback in the NFL. They'll be fine.
But like a team, as far as like Indianapolis goes, you can only beat the teams you play, and they beat them pretty soundly.
Right, and see that's the difference for me is that Indianapolis have Group B, Seattle have Group C, even though they had the same exact resume. They both played only one team above Group C all year, and that was. But I'll say this.
But they win those games. But they win games.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, I agree.
You know, the worst statistic I think in football is, and I use it a lot because it's easily understood. But as far as meaningful, here's where you're talking about handicapping, is having the more total yards in the game. Because that does not take into account so many different factors that you could talk about turnovers affecting it. You could talk about special teams and defensive touchdowns that are scored that are going to, by definition, limit the number of possessions you have to outgain your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
You take a look at any number of games where that happens, but that doesn't mean that you're not a good team just because you don't outgain your opponent. If you do the things that it takes to win, you're not always going to win pretty, and a lot of these things that cause teams to win and lose, you can't handicap. You can't handicap turnovers. Yeah. What you can do, what you can use in your handicapping practice, and I use, is to try to be on teams that don't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
I'd much rather back a team that doesn't turn the ball over than a team that happens to benefit from creating or benefiting from turnovers. Because I think turnovers are often more related to either crazy bounces or bad decisions by quarterbacks.
Yeah,
or running backs the way they hold the football.
Yeah, we agree. I think total yardage is a garbage stat to look at. I think the best metric is to just watch the games and just.
Well, let me. Who does Seattle have on their schedule who are 8 teams coming up?
I don't know.
Then you're never going to be able to rate them an A team if they don't play anybody as an A team. They could be 14-1, and you still have them as a Group C. Maybe a B.
I mean, if they start blowing teams out, then yeah, like the Colts.
Well, whether you win by 1 or whether you win by 40, their goal is to win, not to cover spreads.
Yeah, but good teams win, great teams cover, Andy. We know that.
Yeah, you could look at it that way. So then the Indianapolis Colts last year were a great team when they started 8-1 against the spread, but were 4-4.
Yeah, they're a great team. I know the Seahawks play the Rams twice.
Do you have them as an A?
B plus. Okay. I don't.
That's a B. Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty selective. I only have 4 A teams, which would be the Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, and Lions. And the Packers could talk themselves into an A, but they've had
they could play themselves into an A.
Yeah, they've played some sketchy defense at times this year, so I don't trust them to be an A. But I think
wait. Time out.
All right.
Haven't the Bills played some sketchy defense at times, like in almost every game?
Yeah, but they've been missing players. The Packers haven't really.
They've missed a few players.
Wyatt, that's it. Like the Bills are missing their defensive play caller in the middle of the field with Milano. Like we've seen in the past, the not having Milano there is just such a big deal. and he's coming back, which I think is huge for them. But I just don't know how he's going to play in his first game back
Yeah.
from injury. We'll see. As soon as he's playing at a high level, this could be a completely different Buffalo team.
Well, that's the same. Well, that's why I'm saying if Seattle does not, who do they play that are A team? Do they play any of those other three teams other than the Rams? I don't think they play the Bills, do they?
No, they don't play anyone. But look, if they beat the Rams in LA and then handle themselves well in the second game, then I could definitely put them in Group B. But the fact remains that they haven't played. They've only played, like I said, one team above Group C, and most of their games have been decided by 3 to 8 points. One score games. Whereas the difference is with the Colts, they're the same thing. They've only played one team above Group C, but they've been dismantling.
Where do you have Arizona?
C.
Okay.
Every
one of their games have been decided by 7 points or less.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, they could have won all the games they lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. So, yeah. So anyway, that would be the difference with the Colts and the Seahawks. Where the Colts have blown out their competition, and plus the one game that they lost that was against Group B was the Rams, and that was Adonai Mitchell. If Adonai Mitchell doesn't drop,
but they also got the win against Denver.
Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true.
It offsets it. Yeah.
So you said you like Washington in this game.
Yeah.
Why do you like Washington?
Well, Daniel's going to be back, and it's a long trip for Seattle. I don't know how they do on the East Coast, but again, they only had a new coach for a couple of years. But they did get Samuel back last week, and I think he adds a lot. They still have a decent running game. The defense is. Let me see what I have on the defense here.
Washington's defense is pretty bad.
It's pretty low. Although once again, their yardage numbers, which I don't really care all that much for, other than they're easy to understand, are better than the points allowed. So they're getting contributions, elsewhere, because like their yardage equates to their points pretty much. They're 16th in yards, 17th in points scored, 27th in total defense, 21 in points allowed. So they're getting contributions, from special teams or things like that. It's almost a situation where, okay, where do you have Green Bay ranked?
B right now. B as in boy.
Okay. And where do you have Washington ranked? B?
There was C with Daniels. There were D without Daniels.
Okay. It's almost like the situation last week with Green Bay being favored by the same number at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was a B out of C. Well, if you think Seattle's on the same level as Green Bay, then yes. But I don't think
I think the difference between Seattle and Green Bay is less than the difference between Pittsburgh and Washington.
So you think Seattle?
I think Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh is much weaker than Washington.
I could buy that. I guess they both. I mean, with Daniels, Washington's offense is clearly better. And plus, look, they're the way more desperate team here too. But yeah, I don't think Seattle's I don't think Seattle's on the same level as Green Bay. I really don't. I know. Look, I know they have an impressive record. 5-2 is fine. But yeah, I think you can make a bear case for Seattle, like with some of their wins. Like Arizona that came down to the wire could have gone either way. They lost to Tampa at home. That was not impressive. They beat the Jaguars, but I think the Jaguars are overrated. I told you, I was saying everyone when they're 4-1, I'm like, this Jaguar team, their record's built on the house of cards. I think that they were bound to regress. And then they beat Houston by 8. And Houston had such an unfavorable spot in that game where they're playing a late game.
Again, we're coming up with excuses to explain away things we don't agree with. In other words, every team, you can make those cases for every team. I mean, Green Bay is 3-4 against the spread. Washington is 3-5 against the spread because they played one more game. So those are pretty similar. No, not Seattle. Seattle's 5-2. Green Bay is 3-4 against the spread. Who's performed better than expectations? Seattle has.
Yeah, but I think you kind of have to like dig in and it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like,
Well, I mean, the line is supposedly the great equalizer. One team exceeds expectations, the other team falls short.
yeah, I do
And the
think that.
expectations weren't all that much different when you compare the various lines they've had
Well, I
throughout the
think
year.
Seattle's expectations entering the year were way lower than Green Bay's because Green Bay got Parsons and the Packers were their lines were much higher than Seattle's were. You know, like if Green Bay at Pittsburgh was Green Bay -3, when Seattle was at Pittsburgh was -3. You know,
Yeah.
so that's a 6
That was
point
what
swing
week?
there.
Was that week 3 or 4, something like that? It was
It
early in the
was week,
season.
but yeah, it was week 2, but still,
Week 2, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think Green Bay was
Well,
like,
remember coming into the season, Pittsburgh was probably well. I think the win total for Pittsburgh was higher than that for Seattle.
is 8.5. I don't remember what Seattle's win total was.
Seattle might have been 8 or 8.5.
Oh, really? Is that high? Okay, I would
Yeah,
have guessed
maybe it was lower. I don't have it in front of me right now, but
yeah, but Green Bay's win total I think was when they traded for Parsons, I think was 10.5.
Yeah.
So yeah, Green Bay was definitely regarded higher than Seattle. So their spreads were tougher to beat for them. You know.
Yeah.
Where Seattle's.
I mean, they should, and then right now they should probably be slightly ahead of Seattle. And I would say that when you take a look at, and again, yeah, you look at the injuries and everything, I would say that the NFC North is, I'm going to say, slightly better than the NFC West when you factor in some of the injuries, because I mean, Chicago's much improved, and they're the 4th team in that division.
Yeah,
they may be close to overtaking Minnesota, depending upon Minnesota's quarterback situation going forward. Detroit and Green Bay are I think legitimate Super Bowl teams. Now,
yeah, I think any team in Group A and B is legitimate Super Bowl teams.
As far as Seattle, well, when you take a look at the NFC South, the way Atlanta's playing, you can really only make a case for Tampa Bay in that division, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
When you look at the East, you got Philadelphia, and they're barely getting by in some games, although they may have finally started to put it together the last couple of weeks. I don't know that you can make a case for Dallas, but you have to respect the offense on individual games. I don't know that you can make a great. Well, it all depends on Jaden Daniels and guys like McLaurin as far as Washington goes.
Mm-hmm.
I still think the Rams are the best team in the NFC West. We can't say much about San Francisco because they're an enigma. They shouldn't be winning the way as much as they have been winning because of all the injuries, but they managed to overcome it. So there's some intangible there, and maybe it's the coaching of Shanahan. Maybe it's John Lynch, the general manager, who gets the talent in there. Maybe it's a system that they use. Who knows? But Seattle, I think, and again, they only played once, but I think there's a bigger gap between the Rams and San Francisco than there is between San Francisco and Seattle. So what I'm saying is I think that San Francisco and Seattle probably have similar chances of winning the NFC West. Green Bay and Detroit are probably closer to the Rams' chances of winning. Green Bay and Detroit probably have better chances, or about the same chance. Each has about the same chance of winning the NFC North as the Rams do in winning the NFC West. I don't know what the odds are, but just from where we are at this point in the season.
Yeah. If hypothetically, if Houston was playing at Green Bay, what would you make that line?
Let me see. I'd have to take a look at my numbers to get some idea of what the numbers say it is, and then see if it sounds sense. Green Bay at Houston.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. Houston at Green Bay.
Houston at Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
The way these teams are playing now, and the health situation being relatively similar, whatever they are, I'd probably say Green Bay probably about 5.5 or 6.
Yeah, I asked that because Seattle. I mean, Houston recently played at Seattle a couple weeks ago, and Seattle was -3 in that game. And I agree. I think -6 would make sense. So, that's what we're talking about, where Green Bay's lined higher than Seattle, and rightfully so. I think Green Bay is definitely better than Seattle. So, it's look, it could be wrong. I feel like as people who prognosticate these games, you kind of have to like take a chance with some of these evaluations of these teams. And
because so much of what okay, see the difference. You do it a lot more than I do, although I do some of it, but I do it differently. You use subjective analysis to group your teams into the various categories as a large part of it, in addition to the numbers. But a large part of it is, looking at film, considering injuries. My power ratings are strictly based on the numbers because those are what the results are. I then use subjective analysis to determine, okay, is there something wrong with this number, or does this number not include certain factors for which you can't have a concrete answer? You can only say if this, if that, but for this. Mm-hmm. But that's my long-standing thing is handicapping is an art and a science.
Yeah.
Way back when, handicapping was more of an art than a science, because the science was the more difficult part, because everyone knew about good situations, but you couldn't know how to. You didn't have a good grasp on power ratings because you didn't have a good system for doing it. You didn't have computer power. You didn't have the kind of analysis, the information to analyze that we do now. Now everyone's got pretty much the same power ratings because we've all got the numbers. And the difficult part now is the science, is identifying the intangible factors that suggest that, my numbers say 7, but I think the number should be 11. So I'm going to handicap based on the number being 11.
Right.
What would I do in that game? And or that the number 7 and it should be 3, depending upon how it is. One of the things, and I think I mention it almost every week, is I take a look, and let me see if I can find it here. I take a look at what the numbers were at the start of the summer, as far as the Westgate, when they put out all 18 weeks, and you could bet both sides and totals before any of the games were played. So let me turn to week 9, and maybe I'll just read these out just to give people an idea of what the thoughts were back in August, before we had the Micah Parsons trade, before we had anything else. So, okay, would that make a good thing to do here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just give you some of the idea, because remember, these are based on preseason expectations. Perhaps a good part of it goes into win-loss totals as far as being a guide. Ravens were initially 5.5 over Miami.
Okay.
I think both teams have underachieved, obviously, based upon their performance and their records, but the Ravens have a much better reason for underperforming than did the Dolphins. Okay, Bears
Andy, before you move on, I love this comment.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah,
ESPN's power rankings use neither math nor science; they rely on pure stupidity. Go on, Chris. Go ahead.
I think they do that to get clicks and comments, so they can measure how many people are actually listening to the idiots.
Maybe I don't know. I think that gives ESPN too much credit that they can do something. Think like that.
No, they have outside consultants who do that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, do you want to continue with the numbers?
Yeah, no. I mean, no. That's a valid thing. Is that we don't know why they say it, but yeah, you don't drop it. You don't drop spots because you didn't play.
Right.
Now you want to penalize a team for remember one thing. Keep in mind, everybody, listen to this. This is the most important statement I'm going to make all night. When two good teams face each other, one good team is going to lose. When two bad teams face each other, one bad team is going to win. There are many times when I will not downgrade a good team simply because it lost, and in some cases I might actually upgrade it because it played well against a team that beat them on a last-second field goal. Same thing with bad teams. I will not upgrade a bad team that wins a game. Like when Tennessee plays the Raiders, I didn't upgrade either team.
Right.
And a lot of it had to do because that also came close to my number in the game where I had the Raiders. I forget what the number was that they won by, but it was right there, so there was no adjustment needed. Because they played according to form, the way that I calculated form, which is my power ratings. Okay, I then interpret them and say, okay, are there other reasons? Well, yeah, they were one of the teams. Let's say not in this game specifically. One of the teams was +3 in turnovers, had a lot to do with it. So that might cause me to realize a little bit something different that is not reflected in the pure numbers. The pure numbers don't tell you why; it tells you what.
Right.
Okay. And we need to know why sometime. That's the artistic part. How much of an impact that. Bears and Bengals, and of course a lot's changed since then. But the Bengals were favored by 3.5 at home, and now they're 2.5 point underdogs. Lions were 4.5 over the Vikings. Remember, both were playoff teams last year. One was 14-3. One was 15-2.
Mm-hmm.
Packers 7.5 over the Panthers. Now they're about 13. I don't know if at 7.5 that looked cheap. Obviously, it looks cheap now, but I don't know how. That seems like the expectations were not all that good for the Packers and were much better for the Panthers. Panthers have played well. Okay, Panthers have played better than expected, but I don't know that the Packers have played any worse than expected.
Yeah, and I think those lines may have been before the Parsons trade too.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, I think they were. In fact, I'm almost positive. Chargers were 4.5 over Titans. I don't think anybody expected the Titans to be this as bad as they are.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
I don't know that 4.5 might have been a little. Well, when did the injury occur to the? Slater may have been injured before this line came out, but even so, I don't know that it would make that much of a difference. That line, yeah, everyone has expected Tennessee to have a real struggle this year.
Yeah.
Patriots 3 over the Falcons. I think the adjustment up to 5.5 is reasonable.
Yeah, it just happened this week. I mean, and the advanced line was 2.5. So
yeah, which I thought was a little. Well, the Falcons were right. It was before the loss to Miami.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
49ers 3.5 over Giants, pretty close to where it is now. The 49ers. Probably, if they were healthy, would be closer to a touchdown.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So I think the 3.5 is reasonable, considering the scope of the injury. Steelers 4.5 over the Colts.
Okay. Yeah, no one expected the Colts to do this, obviously.
Except if you knew they were 8-1 against the spread before last year, going 4-4.
Of course,
but Steichen has done. Steichen was 9-8 his first year, 8-9 his second year, and he's got a quarterback this year. Now we didn't know that Daniel Jones was going to perform as well as he has.
Yeah, the Vikings certainly didn't. They let him go.
Yeah, and we still have to look at the Cardinal-Cowboy game for Monday night. Broncos and Texans. Okay, this one they got pretty close. Texans -1. I guess that's reasonable. Because I know coming into the season, the Broncos were a fashionable pick to perhaps win the AFC West, and the Texans were two-time defending AFC South champions with a good defense. Yeah. I don't know if we knew about the Mixon injury at that time.
That's pretty late.
Jaguars at Raiders. Raiders 2.5.
Okay.
I suppose we didn't know that we expected the Raiders to be improved because of Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. Geno Smith has not lived up to billing, and that's probably why the Jaguars are now 2.5 3-point favorites. Saints at Rams. Rams 9.5. That actually sounded reasonable at the time. I'm not so sure that 14. Well, again, I don't know. What was the advanced line on this game? Because that was before the quarterback change was made. Let me see what I have here.
I have 12.
I'm showing 11 and showing 11.5.
Yeah,
and then open 14.
That was the FanDuel advanced line, not Westgate.
Okay, I'm looking at Westgate. Which is when does the FanDuel line come out?
Same day.
Okay, was that the closing line or the opening line?
That's the line that was out last Tuesday. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. So that was the opening line for the advanced line.
Yeah.
It may have gone up when they and maybe that's why they adjusted it upward, because maybe it was bet upward the early limited action.
Right.
Bills and Chiefs. Bills were 3-point favorites.
Oh wow. Okay.
I probably would have taken the Chiefs here at that number.
Yeah. Be a nice middle potentially if you did.
Yeah, well, I mean, these two teams are capable of winning. So anytime I get points, especially the key number like that. Seahawks has Commanders. Commanders were 5.5.
Yeah, well, Daniel.
So the lines maker, but the lines maker's given considerable respect to Seattle.
Yeah, for
a 9-point move.
Yeah, some people did love Washington to win the Super Bowl this year. I wonder who.
Sure.
Yeah. Who kind of crazy person like that?
Let me see. The line last week did have Seattle a 2.5-point favorite, but we're talking about over the summer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so,
They've had a lot of injuries.
what this tells me is Seattle has played beyond. Well, I'd say better than expectations, because Washington was considered to be. Oh, look, of all the games this week, they are they were I think the third highest line. You had Packers 7.5, you had Rams 9.5, and you had the Ravens 5.5, and the Commanders 5.5.
Right.
So, in other words, to go from a 5.5-point preseason favorite to a 3-point road underdog, home underdog rather, that's a huge adjustment. That has to tell you that the team that's now favored had to be doing some really, really good things for the lines maker to make them a favorite, or the team that was favored by 5.5 at home had to really suck and start 1-7 to be that big of an underdog.
Yeah.
To go from nearly a touchdown favorite to a field goal underdog. Now, obviously, part of the reason why that line flipped was because of the injury to Daniels. But that can't account for a 9-point difference. That has to account to a certain extent, Seattle playing better than the lines makers envisioned, whether you go by win-loss records or just performance. And of course, you can only beat the teams that you play, and some of them were close. But nonetheless, having said all that and having disagreed with you about Seattle, I'm still on the same side as you.
Okay. Yeah.
I assume you're on Washington with Daniel starting.
Yes. If this is Mariota, I'd be on Seattle. But I imagine the line would have been even higher if that were the case. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I feel like this wasn't as much of an adjustment because the advanced line was Seattle -3. I found this very curious. The advanced line was Seattle.
Well, Seattle was -3 because they expected Jaden Daniels to play. Because they expected him to play last week.
I guess so, but it was like that's not very certain. I don't know. It seems strange that they would just assume that.
No, but I think well, because it was originally projected he was going to start last week.
Yeah, I know. It still feels like difficult to predict. I mean, it's a short week too, not that short, but still a short week that he returns. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But we're both
no, because the reason why it's well, that's sort of making my case that Seattle is better than everybody is thinking, because if they thought Daniels was going to start, I don't know why they wouldn't have made this game. At worst, pick him, and perhaps even made Washington a slight favorite, having the Daniels back. Probably part of it was because you didn't know McLaurin and Samuel and even Brown, who of course is now out for a while. So maybe the lines maker was thinking when he made Seattle 3, but that's still a huge adjustment from the start of the season. But maybe it's those key injuries to the receivers in addition to, or key injuries and absence of receivers in addition to the not quite certain, but more than likely that Daniels will start this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And we have one more game. Do you know what the number on Arizona at Dallas was to start the year?
You want to guess?
Yeah.
Before we knew anything about Dallas's offense, Dak Prescott, and the defense.
Yeah, this was before Parsons.
And Arizona's, before Parsons was gone, and about Arizona's propensity to not blow teams out or get blown out, because every game is a 7-point or less game.
My guess is Dallas -3.5.
1.5.
One, really? Wow. Okay. Before the Parsons trade, really? Yeah, that's crazy. Well,
what was the season win total on the Cowboys? It was pretty low.
It was, yeah, that's true. It was low. I mean, Arizona's was low too.
I thought was like about 8 or 8.5.
Okay.
There were a lot of there was a lot of sentiment for Arizona prior to the season. Not that they were going to not finish 1.5 win total. No, I think he's guessing the Dallas line.
He guessed the line. Yeah.
If quote unquote it was indeed a guess.
Yeah. So
we only have honest viewers and listeners here, so
of course, yeah, everyone's honest.
We'll give them the benefit of no doubt needed.
Exactly. I think this line is 3 when it opened, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you mean the advance?
No, when the line opened on Sunday night.
I will tell you because I marked down the 2 week advance line and then the reposted line. And when I do my opening numbers, I actually use the reposted line after the Sunday games. Which, interesting enough, on the Don Best screen,
Mhm.
they also, when they repost the line on Sunday night, they use that as the opening line and not the line that opened back the previous Tuesday.
Okay.
Which is fair because the limits expand. This line on the advance line was Dallas 4. It opened or reposted Dallas 3.
Okay. Okay.
So they basically made a 1 point. Now I don't know. Again, I don't know what the line closed at before they took it down on Sunday, but they basically did not have a huge negative reevaluation following the one-sided loss to Denver.
Right.
Arizona, of course, didn't play, so that in other words, I will say there is a possibility that maybe that advanced line of 4 was bet up to 5.5 when they took it off, and then Dallas's poor effort said, "Okay, we're not going to put it up at 5.5. We're going to put it up at 3."
Okay. Yeah.
Or it may have been bet from 4 down to 3, and they put it up there, which basically made no adjustment for the Denver game, which I guess basically says. Now, even though Denver was a 3-point favorite, 3.5 point favorite over Dallas, and that was my favorite game last week. But the fact that they won by 20, I think it was, did not result in any significant adjustment to the line that was sitting there 24 hours earlier.
I'm not surprised.
Which basically means the lines makers, they couldn't put a line of Denver 15. But they basically weren't surprised that the game turned into a blowout.
Yeah, you said you like Denver. I like Denver too. Not as much as you, but I still was on that side. So as far as this game is concerned,
Denver against Dallas. Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah. As far as this game is concerned, I think I would side with Arizona. I wish this line was still +3. Now it's 2.5.
Yeah.
I tend to like Arizona against bad teams and against when they're underdogs because as we said, Kyler Murray keeps these games close. And we had a question: would you like the Cardinals more if Jacoby Brissett were starting? I think I would in this game. Jacoby Brissett has been so much better for Trey McBride. I love how the whole narrative last year, Trey McBride can't score touchdowns. He just can't. And then Brissett comes in and suddenly McBride can't stop scoring touchdowns. That's all he does is score touchdowns with Brissett. I'm not a big Murray fan. But I'm less of a fan of Dallas's defense, which is just atrocious here. And anytime you have Arizona playing against Dallas, Arizona's going to bring it. They hate Dallas so much. So I like the Cardinals here, but less so at 2.5 than 3. What do you think about this game?
I like Dallas here. I think that they can simply outscore like they do many opponents. Arizona is a decent team, but I don't know that they can keep pace with the Cowboys. Prescott, prior to last week, was an MVP quarterback as far as the numbers he was putting up. He was having a very, very good, a very, very good season prior to that, and we'll see we bounce back here. Arizona's not as bad defensively as perhaps you would think. They are slightly below average in a number of categories. One area, let me see here, that Dallas, I'm trying to think. Well, one area that I think they can exploit is the passing game. Now, both teams are weak on defense against the pass. Dallas especially so. They're number 31. They allow 259 per game. Arizona's number 25 at 235. Offensively, Dallas number 1 at 280. I'm sorry, is that 264 yards per game? The league average, by the way, is 215. Arizona's at 200, number 23. So that tells me that if it becomes a shootout, Dallas is likely to have more success because they have a dominant offense in the passing game, at least, as far as the running game, as opposed to Arizona through the air. Arizona is number 12 against the rush. Dallas is number 13 in running the football. Dallas rushes for 6 yards more than the league average, 114, and Arizona allows 101, which is 13 yards lower. So almost a bit of a trade-off there as far as differences, maybe a little edge to Arizona. Arizona averages 110 on offense. Dallas, this is where Arizona can make their hay, is Dallas allows 146 on the ground. Dallas has a very well-balanced defense. 29th against the run, 31st against the pass.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is Arizona does not seemingly have the kind of offense that can keep up in the passing game, but they should be able to have success running the football. Of course, we said that about Carolina last week against Buffalo, running the ball defensively.
Yeah, and they didn't. Nothing happened there.
And Buffalo ran for 254 yards against that Carolina defense, which was playing pretty decently.
Yeah, we thought Carolina's run defense was great, and then suddenly James Cook.
We thought one. No, I don't remember how we picked in that game, but I thought that because of that run defense, they might be able to stay in there. But I thought, I'm pretty sure, and I don't remember what I said on the show, but I know what I was thinking, so I probably said it on the show. Buffalo coming off of the bye and the 2 straight losses, they needed to send a message to themselves.
Yeah, I sided with Buffalo, but I didn't bet the game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
A big regret.
I did bet Buffalo, but I also bet Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm still wondering what happened in that game.
Well, it's Raheem Morris no-show, second time since week 3.
And his players.
The players didn't show up. But Raheem Morris really struggles at motivating his players. We saw that in Tampa. I forget what year it was. I think it was 2011. His team just quit on him. And they were woeful at the end of the year. Same thing. Like he just doesn't get his team to show up sometimes. I think he's a terrible coach.
All of you viewers and listeners out there who are aspiring motivational speakers, send your tape to Raheem Morris. Yeah, maybe he'll invite you to talk to his team and give the pregame speech.
Yeah, give him some ideas. He needs it. He really needs it. So,
maybe you get $10,000 plus airfare.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
But only if the motivational speech results in a win.
Yeah, that's the trick. It has to. So maybe the lesson is don't bet Atlanta as a big favorite because they might be a no-show. So that's what the situation was the 2 times in Carolina.
And remember, they had not played all that badly against San Francisco the previous Sunday, Monday night, whatever it was.
Yeah, they were coming off a loss, which I thought that's why they would show up.
Positive. So, it wasn't a bad loss. It wasn't like the loss they came off against Carolina. I forget what they did the week after that, but it was a competitive loss against a team that was playing better than may have been expected to play because of all the injuries.
Yeah, the week after Carolina, they beat Washington, albeit without Jane Daniels.
Is that a 7-point game? 34-27 or something?
Yeah, I think so. That was 34-27 exactly. Yeah. Atlanta did outgain Washington by 1 yard per play in that game. But yeah, that was Mariota, so not Jane Daniels. So as we said earlier, I expect Atlanta to bounce back and play better. I don't know if they'll win, but they could at least play better this week. Okay.
Patriots are gaining more and more confidence each week.
Yeah, they keep. Yeah,
and Drake May continues to play extremely well.
Drake May was my number 1 drafted player. I've drafted
most leagues.
I've drafted like 300 drafts this summer, I think. Mm-hmm. And Drake May was my highest owned quarterback. I have him in the most real leagues I'm in. He was my number 1 quarterback value, and I say that because I did not even expect him to play this well.
Yeah,
I thought he'd be running a lot.
You said him or them, meaning the entire team, or both, really?
Both. Both, really. But it goes hand in hand, sort of. But like May, I thought he would scramble a lot. I thought May would be like Josh Allen year 2, where he took a big step. He still made some mistakes, but showed big progression. Was a great fantasy quarterback. Ran a lot. Better as a passer, but not perfect. What May's doing right now is Josh Allen year 3 when he became an elite quarterback. Like this, he's been amazing.
What was the year he won MVP? It was last year, the first.
Last year.
That was the first?
I think so. Yeah, but he's like Josh Allen year 3. That's when he took the step into elite category, and May has already done that. I wrote on the site. I think you can argue May is the top 5 quarterback already right now.
Now, my question, and it comes in line with some of the things that you like to point out. What's the schedule? What does New England play as far as the schedule goes?
Going forward?
No. Who he's accomplished all this against?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, we know the Buffalo was a quality win for A, who it was against, even with the injuries from Buffalo, and B,
Mhm.
where it was.
Yeah.
We knew that they were going to have a fairly soft schedule deep into the season.
So the Patriots, same boat as Seattle and Indianapolis. They've only played one team above Group C,
That's
but
Buffalo.
but they won. That was the difference. They beat
Yeah.
Buffalo. They played a lot of soft opponents, but I think they're like the Colts, where they've blown out their competition for the most part. Whereas same with Indianapolis, but
So
Seattle
where do you have New England right now then?
B, Group B.
Oh, okay.
Like Indianapolis, because they've blown out their competition, where Seattle
Yeah.
has played almost every game closely except the
Yeah.
Saints game. But yeah, I think that's the difference. Like if Seattle had blown out the competition, I'd put them in Group B. But they really haven't, except for the Saints game. So, and that was a lot of special teams nonsense and stuff. So, yeah. So, anything else, Andy? I think we had some questions, but
if we have some questions, let's take them. Yeah.
Long ago. Knicks or Love this week? I don't know if this guy's still listening. I would go Love. Knicks is playing Houston's defense, so I would not want to face that.
And
challenge.
Love is playing
the Panthers.
Panthers, yeah.
Yeah.
What at home also.
Yeah, exactly.
Although again, you do wonder, and again, it's a non-conference game. Does Green Bay have a little bit of a letdown after that win?
Yeah, I mean they play the Eagles next week too.
Because I'll tell you what, I mean, Love was, what do they have, 20, 21 straight completions?
20, yeah, it's great.
That was very impressive.
He was amazing in the second half.
And it's tough. It's forget about topping it. It's tough to come close to equaling that.
Yeah.
What was he, 29 out of 39 or something like that?
Yeah, I mean he has some amazing. It wasn't just like 20 dink and dunk passes. Like he was taking shots downfield.
Yeah,
it was great. What should I do with Nico Collins? I mean, look, you can't sell low. You're selling low if you trade him. So I would just stay the course. He's going to be back this week, we think. So he should, if Stroud gets protection, he won't this week, but in future games when he gets protection, he should do well. It's really a shame for anyone who owns Collins not to have him last week, because Stroud finally got protection. Like if Collins had played,
what's the impact of Surtain being out for Denver?
And look, I think that would be a huge deal if they couldn't get pressure on Houston, and they're going to get a lot of pressure on Houston. So I think if they play against teams with really good offensive lines, that's going to mean more. But given that Stroud won't see any protection in this game, I don't think it's going to make that big of a deal in this game.
You think Denver comes to blitz a little bit more to protect the absence of Surtain?
I don't know if they have to blitz against this Houston line.
Make him get rid of the ball as quickly as possible.
Yeah. That's what I would do from Houston. Just you have to, otherwise Stroud's going to get killed back there.
Oh yeah, well I'm saying that. I mean Denver would probably try to say, hey, let's run right up the middle between the offensive linemen is the shortest way to the quarterback.
Yeah. Well, what do you think the AFC West can have 3 playoff teams? And if you think the Chargers will make the playoffs, I think the Chargers will. If I had to guess one team that will make the playoffs from the AFC, with those 3, it would be Denver. But I think Denver could definitely make the playoffs too. So I think there's a decent chance that those 3.
Well, look at the other divisions. I guess now you have to consider New England as a possible playoff team, along with Buffalo, of course. Yeah. I think only barring some miraculous recovery by more so Cincinnati than Baltimore, because I think Baltimore realistically has a better chance. I'd say one team makes the playoff out of the AFC North, and I would say one team makes the playoffs out of the AFC South.
Yeah,
possibly 2 if Houston can get on a little bit of a run. I think Indianapolis is the real deal, and they're not going to have that much tougher of a schedule because they still have. Well, I know they played Tennessee twice. Did they play Houston yet? Indianapolis?
No, they have not.
How about Jacksonville?
No, they haven't played Jacksonville.
So they still have 4 division games.
Yep.
So they could easily have 10 wins just from within the division. Well, I mean, the remaining division games, they could sweep all those 4. So maybe I would say, well, I mean, Houston's lack of offense has got to be an issue going forward, unless they make a trade. But So let's say you got two possibilities out of the AFC East. I'll say 1.5. Okay, I'll say one
Yeah,
and a half.
yeah, I
I'll
think the
say one.
Patriots are. Yeah, given their easy schedule, I think the Patriots are pretty
Yeah.
good.
I'll say 1.5 out of the AFC North. I'll say 1 out of the AFC South,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 or 3. I guess. Well, if I'm saying I'm saying there's probably a good chance for 2 coming out of the AFC West.
Yeah. So what
You
do we
might
have?
you might get 3. You might get 3 because it all depends. Again, these teams are going to play each other, and it's all going to come down to how these AFC West teams do outside of the division, because that's where you're going to rack up the wins.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference between the top 7 teams in the AFC and the rest, because you
Everybody
have
else, yeah.
Buffalo 1, New England 2, Baltimore 3 if healthy, Indianapolis 4, Kansas City 5, Denver 6, LA Chargers 7.
Chargers 7, yeah.
Yeah, those should be the 7 playoff teams unless like they suffer catastrophic injuries. It seems.
Yeah, I mean the only other one, and again we don't know if New England can keep up the pace, because of those 7 that you listed, they are the ones, as currently constructed, that have the least experience.
Yeah, and
because at least Denver and the Chargers made it last year.
Yeah, and then you have Pittsburgh and Jacksonville will hang around, I'm sure, but I think they're both below the
How about
top
Houston?
7 teams.
Who's made playoff appearances, and I think didn't they win their 2 playoff games? The wild card game 2 years ago, was that the one against Cleveland?
Yeah, they beat Cleveland, and they lost to Baltimore, and then last year
Kansas City.
They beat the Chargers, and then they lost to Kansas City. So yeah, that's I feel like that's the AFC South winner will always do that. They'll win the first game and then lose at Kansas City or Baltimore or Buffalo. It just seems that's going to happen. So yeah, I think I would not bet the Chargers to miss the playoffs at 250, but obviously anything can happen. Herbert goes down, then suddenly that's going to look great, but can't really count.
They say Herbert going down is not as bad as Burrow going down, because Burrow has no defense behind him.
That's true. That's definitely true. Who's the Chargers backup even? Is it still Easton Stick? Oh no, it's Trey Lance, right? It's Trey Lance.
Yeah, he looked good in the preseason.
Yeah, he did.
Against grocery store shelvers stuff.
Yeah. So which teaser do you like? What do we say? Detroit's down to 2.5 and Buffalo up to 8. So that seems.
Let's see. Yeah, I suppose the Patriots, if it goes to 6, you could play them down to pick them. And it might go, because everyone's going to, all of a sudden when they start making their hand Atlanta was last week, we'll go with the Patriots. Look at what they did. They won by 29 points or whatever it was. As far as underdogs to play plus the points, Washington, I think, is certainly one. Buffalo, I think, is certainly one. I could put the Raiders in there, simply because I can't see Jacksonville winning a one-sided game if they win.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Coming off the bye, I mean, both coming off byes, but I could see Denver being teased up. Totals 39.5 in that game.
Yeah. Well, next week we have Browns versus Jets, both teams coming up by. That should be fun.
Yeah. And by the way, I know you like Pittsburgh, right? Don't you, against Indianapolis, or you're not sure?
I think you talked me into Indianapolis.
Because if you liked it, you might want to tease Pittsburgh. But again, they were +3, and they didn't cover the teaser because they lost by 10. In fact, I had a nice middle as I had. What was it last? I had Pittsburgh +9 in a teaser, and I had Indianapolis -2. No, I'm sorry. I had Pittsburgh +3 to at even money, and I had late on Sunday before the game, I had Green Bay -2.5.
Okay.
And it was 22-19.
Yeah, it looked good for a while.
And then Green Bay continued to score, and Pittsburgh decided we had enough.
Yeah, they just It's almost like a zebra getting tackled by a lion, just giving up. that's
Pittsburgh's had those kind of games all. Even some of the games that that game against the Jets. I can't forget that one. That was the first one that raised questions about the
defense,
about the Pittsburgh defense. Yeah, I mean, what the Jets did last week was pretty amazing considering they were without two of their receivers.
Yeah, Cincinnati's defense without Hendrickson. We saw how bad that was, and that could happen again. And same thing. The Raiders without Crosby. Their defense already the same thing as Cincinnati. Their defense already is bad with Crosby and Hendrickson with the Bengals. Now imagine how bad they are without them.
Well, the question is, can the opposing team, in one case Chicago, in one place Jacksonville, take advantage of those absences?
Right. Kansas City did before the bye.
I mean, to me, getting Bowers back is huge because now it allows for the possibility that Genty could get some yards.
Yeah, Myers too. They'll both be back. So
they both should be back.
Yeah,
Bowers is questionable. The last time I heard Pete Carroll a day or so ago, he wasn't overly optimistic, but he wasn't coming across pessimistic either.
Yeah, well, he did practice fully today.
And remember, they have a short week coming up.
Right. That's true. Yeah. I mean, they may decide to hold him out, even though he's practicing fully. So that's
and see that's another thing. Also, sometimes with these guys like that, suppose they do have Crosby playing, and Jacksonville's leading 31-10. And even say 31-17 in the fourth quarter, and the Raiders figured they're not going to catch him. Let's sit Crosby for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I could see that happening. And Crosby may not play anyway. He was DMP today, so they could hold him out too. So
we'll find out tomorrow night, I guess.
Yeah. Do you think the Patriots will trade for a running back? I can't understand why Henderson doesn't get more playing time. Henderson has looked good when he's had a chance. He just hasn't had chances. One thing you may have missed, Vrabel has never coached a good quarterback. He coached up Tannehill to be functional, and then Mariota, Levis. That was the old adage with Vrabel, is that he would cover as an underdog, but he would never cover as a favorite. But he didn't have a quarterback.
You mean like Mike Tomlin?
Right. But now he has a quarterback in May, and so he's a covering machine. Vrabel is. Colts remind me.
He has confidence in him, so he can be a lot more aggressive offensively too.
Yeah, seriously. Last question here: Purdy, Goff, Darnold, Love, Kyler this week. Which quarterback are we playing?
Instinctively, you got to say Kyler. It's going up against the weakest defense.
Dallas's defense, yeah.
He could run 38 points and lose by 10.
Yeah, I mean, Darnold has a good matchup too against Washington. And Goff, look, we've seen what Goff has done against Minnesota's defense, so you have to consider that too. The only worry about Goff is that Detroit might be up so much that he may not have to throw very much.
That they throw a run, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'm with Andy here.
What's Dallas? What's the lowest that Dallas gave up this year? 27.
That's pretty incredible. And they did play the Jets. They blew out the Jets this year. So that was
no. I'm sorry. What was the fewest points that Dallas has scored in a game this year?
Oh, scored.
It was
14. They scored only 14 against
14 against the Bears. Yeah.
Yeah, when Lamb got hurt. That was a big deal there. That was. I had a great lineup going on DraftKings. I still had Dak and CD Lamb and Rome Odunze. And like, oh my God, I might win this. And then Lamb gets hurt right away. It's like, come on. It's of course.
Now they have him back.
Yeah, they do.
So that should also strengthen Williams on the running game.
Yep. Yeah, it should. All right. So that's about it, Andy. Unless you have any other.
No, that's it. We let's see. Are we? We're still way short of last week.
Yeah, we were. Well,
I think we were at 3:15 last week. We're not even at 3 hours. But,
this is a very brief video here.
Relatively speaking, yes.
Exactly. All right, so your site is thelogicalapproach.com. You have amazing newsletters there. I urge anyone.
This one is interesting because it covers both college and pro football. I used to put out a report for many years that took a look at various statistics and saying that if teams did such and such, they covered X percent of the time. So this week, if I can find the right page, because I want to try and give an example, but of course, fumbling around here while I stall for time, because the page I need is the one page that's missing, because I got the other
Of course.
5 or 6. But no, let's see here.
Yeah.
Can you sing, Walt? Can you sing for a minute?
La 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 la.
Maybe that better. Maybe make that about 30 seconds then.
I was in choir when I was in 4th grade. I'll say that. It's a miserable experience.
Here we go. Okay.
So
here we go. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
For example, if you are able to outrush your opponent by a 2-to-1, in other words, let's say a team gains 50 and you gain 100 or more rushing. Those teams this year are 31-9 against the spread in the NFL, 77.5%. Historically, and it doesn't occur, frequently. I mean, here it is. Well, 40 times it's occurred, or 40 instances it's occurred in 120 games. So that's about a third of the time. And 31-9 is, just a little over 75%, 77 plus. Historically, it's 80%. If you can find a matchup where you expect that to occur, and it does occur. So there you're looking for a matchup of a good rushing team against a bad rushing defense, facing a bad rushing offense against a good rushing defense.
Yeah.
It doesn't take into I didn't find anything significant passing. Obviously, commit fewer turnovers. Here's where I look for teams that don't commit turnovers as opposed to the turnover margin. Commit fewer turnovers, 69-18 this year. So that's 70. That's 80 throughout pushes. So I'll ignore. There's only been one push this year that I've recorded. 87 out of 121 games. 79.3%. Historically, 77.1%. So if that's why if you can back teams that don't turn the football over, Indianapolis, and that occurs, or at least they have fewer turnovers. Now, here's the one that rarely occurs. Commit at least 3 fewer turnovers. Numbers are pretty much what you would expect. So far this year, it's actually occurred a little more than 10% of the games. 14-1, 93% historically. And again, it's going to be a small number of a sample size. I don't have the number in front of me, but it's 90%, 90.4% you cover if you can do that. So again, teams that are really good. And so that you'd be looking at a team that doesn't commit a lot of turnovers, but forces a lot or benefits from a lot on defense. Sometimes you don't force them; you just benefit because of the trajectory of the ball off the helmet. Right. One thing that is interesting, and it kind of makes sense because teams will generally try to have ball control when they're leading. Rushing attempts. If you have greater rushing attempts than your opponent, so far this year, in 121 games, it's happened in 117 of them. In the others, they were equal number of attempts. 90-27 against the spread. That's 76.9% just by rushing the ball more. But that, again, figures. If you have the lead, you're going to run the ball unless you're an idiot coach. We can name a few of those. And historically, it's 75%. But what's interesting here, the higher yards per rush attempt you would think would be a significant thing. It's not. 57-63. 47.5%. What that normally means is if you have a higher rush attempt, it means you probably had like 1 or 2 35-yard runs that boost up the average, but you didn't score on those runs, as opposed to a little more consistency. In the colleges, the numbers are comparable as far as those percentages go. They're a little bit higher in the historical numbers are a little bit higher in the pros. In most of the categories. Commit fewer turnovers, 77% historically in the pros, 71% in the colleges. And the main reason for that is you have higher point spreads in the colleges that have to be covered when you accomplish all these things because there are so many mismatches where teams are routinely laying. And just take a look at when in your lifetime, and maybe this will be in your next book, Walt, when in your lifetime did you think Ohio State would be a 21-point favorite over Penn State?
Yeah, it's not.
By the way, my understanding is before James Franklin was fired, it was a 25-point spread. So when he fired, they actually gave Penn State a better chance.
Wow, that's crazy.
No, I don't know what it was back then, but
Penn State had some dark days when I first got there. Before
that was in the was that in the post Paterno?
No, that was way before Paterno.
Way before, okay.
Yeah, I was a freshman in 2000, so it was Rashard Casey.
That was the Sandusky scandal.
Yes. Yeah.
Around that time.
Yeah. and then it was then eventually they got Larry Johnson, and things turned around, and then they got a lot better with the Michael Robinson season and stuff like that. But my freshman year at Penn State, that team was pretty bad.
Oh,
They got blown out by USC in the first game. We were all excited. My roommate and I like, oh, cool, we get to cheer for a good college team.
oh, what was that? The first game they played?
Yeah,
got blown out?
They played in New Jersey against USC. It was a neutral site game.
Oh, the Meadowlands.
Yeah, and they lost by like 30 points. It was embarrassing. So
that used to be. I think they called that the Kickoff Classic back then.
Yeah.
I think right. that was like I think for many years it was an isolated game played 1 week before, Labor Day weekend or whatever. And now, of course, you have a whole. I think like 4 or 6 games this year played on that Kickoff Classic weekend.
Yeah, it's like week 0. Yeah. They cheapened it, I think. But it's whatever. It's still football. It's nice to watch. But yeah, no, the quarterback was Rashard Casey, and then they had Zach Mills and they had Larry Johnson. So the team got good, and then they were bad for a while. But then that Michael Robinson year where they had Tamba Hali and all those guys, that was a great season for them. And
they've always had great defensive players, especially linebackers.
Yeah. They did. Yeah, they had LeVar Arrington back then. So yeah. Well, that was a little bit before me, but still. Anyway, it's Penn State's down in the dumps right now, but yeah, it's okay. They'll rebound, I'm sure. So once they find their next coach.
Yeah, I wonder who. I know they're talking about Matt Rule.
Okay.
He's really he's not done a good job with Nebraska this year. He I think has underperformed.
Yeah, Nebraska's been
because he usually turns teams around. If not in the second year, by the third year. And Nebraska got decent, but they're they may cover this week against SC, but I've gone against them a number of times in recent weeks when I think I had 7.5 when they beat Northwestern by 7. Yeah. I think I had I think I've cashed 4 or 5 tickets going against Nebraska this year.
Yeah, Minnesota beat them outright.
Yeah,
I had Minnesota in that game too. Yeah, I've been fading Nebraska as well. I haven't decided my picks yet for college yet, so
we'll see what happened in tonight's games. I didn't even look at the finals there. Let me see here. We're concentrating on the pros, but they had a couple of games in the conference. I think it was Conference USA. So let me see if I can find it out here. Men's basketball. Okay. Got to scroll all the way down. Jacksonville State won but did not cover. 24-21 at Middle Tennessee, and Missouri State covered 28-21. Those 2 new teams in Conference USA, Missouri State and the Delaware Blue Hens, having decent seasons in their first year, not just in the Conference USA, in the FCS. Why did they ever change it? It used to be Division 1 and 1A and 1AA. Yep. That made sense. You could understand 1A is better than 1AA. Now you got to do FBS and FCS. And you know why they did that? Because they didn't want people to realize that there were 2 different divisions and one was better than the other.
Right. Yeah. It's
confusing.
Yeah.
Maybe they can hire Brian Kelly. Matt Rule's. Brian Kelly's a little overrated too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it. I think I mentioned at the start. I think I did. I mentioned at the start that I got eliminated in the last man standing contest here in college football when LSU blew that halftime lead and lost to Vanderbilt. Maybe they were behind the whole game, I think, against Vanderbilt. And then, of course, last week, LSU loses to Texas A&M after leading at halftime. So I lose my entry fee. So I'm worse for wear. Brian Kelly gets fired and gets $49 million or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. To
not work.
Biden's former alma mater. Rich Gannon too. Rich Gannon.
I was going to say former. I thought it was president. I thought I was a little dyslexic there. I read it as President Biden's former alma mater.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's such a thing as a former alma mater. I guess if they take your degree away, I suppose they would. Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe Flacco, Rich Gannon.
Rich Gannon,
So it's funny you should say that. The most famous alumnus from my high school is Bill Cosby. And they used to make a big deal. He used to visit all the time. They used to have assemblies. He used to have
what high school?
Central High School. It's the second
okay. Yeah.
Second oldest high school in the country. So yeah, he used to visit. They make a big deal. He have assemblies. He make people laugh. He do stand up. And the thing,
Did he do Fat Albert?
yeah, I have a story. I have a story of
Hey, hey.
yeah. So anyway, real fast, but so everyone loved him, of course. And then the thing was, like, he didn't graduate from my high school. He went there for 2 years and then he got kicked out. But
Oh, he
people are
did
like,
get
oh,
kicked out.
he got kicked out for his bad grades, and so people still said, oh, he's still an alumnus here, he's still an alumnus. And then the stuff broke about him, and now people are like, he's not an alumnus.
Did they take it? Well, they couldn't take away the degree. He didn't have one.
Right, he didn't have one, exactly. So he is, I would say he's a former alumnus. And by the way, I had real fast. I had a friend who is a heavy guy. He used to move furniture for a living and stuff like that. And so he was in a rich neighborhood, in one of the areas here, and he was moving the furniture into the house. And he hears, hey, 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 and he's looking around. And then he keeps moving furniture, and then he hears again. He's like, hey, 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 and he's like, he looks, and he finally sees who that is Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby's looking out the window, doing the Fat Albert at this heavy guy.
Fat guy, yeah.
And it's like Bill Cosby's like has nothing to do with his life, like, but just stare out the window, saying hey, hey to a fat guy moving furniture. On a Saturday afternoon, that's like what Bill Cosby's doing.
Well, he proved for a while that you don't need a high school diploma to make a success of yourself.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And then it all came crashing down, but.
Yeah, it's crazy how that happens. So anyway, that's
do you remember him from the Jell-O commercials?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he used to all the time. Yeah, I used to watch the Cosby Show. It was hit or miss. Sometimes they're good episodes, sometimes not. But it's great. Yeah, crazy. You never know about someone's character.
What's the oldest high school in America?
I don't know.
What's the second oldest one in Philly?
Well, we're the oldest. We're second oldest in the country.
Right, but what's the second oldest in Philly?
Oh, I don't know.
Because you're obviously the oldest in Philadelphia.
Right.
I just remember all the famous people who went to Overbrook.
Boston Latin School, apparently the oldest high school in the country. So our school is so old. Instead of saying that, like, class of 2000, class of 20, like I was 2000, we would say 259 instead of that. And 259.
You're 259.
Yeah, as in the 259th graduating class of the school. Yeah. So that is, but that was 2000. So now it's getting close to 300, which is kind of scary. But anyway,
so your high school predated the revolution.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? It's right near. Actually, our school is right next to girls' high school. And there's always rumors.
What are the streets?
Ogonson, Alani.
Okay, yeah.
So there would always be rumors that there were underground tunnels leading from Central High School to girls' high school. Yeah, because Central High School used to be all boys when it first started, but then they let girls in. But now everyone's like, oh, there's tunnels to girls' high, and it's on the. So I don't know if that's ever true, but that was always the rumors that people had. So
I remember Upper Merion and Lower Merion, Kobe and.
Yeah, Lower Merion. I swam against Lower Merion once.
There's a great album cover of Frank Zappa, I think, wearing a Lower Merion High School shirt.
Oh, okay.
On one of his albums.
They had nice facilities there, which not a surprise given that's where Kobe was.
Where it's located, yeah.
Right, exactly. So.
Well, I told you I saw the Bruce Springsteen concert that I mentioned earlier, the Christmas Eve at in Upper Darby at the Tower Theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome.
It was a great venue.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of great play. I forget what the seating capacity wasn't very much. I don't know, it was like 1,500 or something. Maybe way off on that, but it was a great venue, great sound. I remember the Electric Factory.
Oh yeah.
They have a lot of concerts.
Yeah, I remember that too. Yeah. All right. I guess that's about it.
See, I spent a lot of my time in college, in Philly, going to concerts and ball games instead of going to class.
Yeah, well, I spent my time in college working on my website instead of going to class. I was always late. This one thing stood out to me. I'd always come in like 10 minutes late to class. And one time after class, this guy I was friends with, He's like, Walt, you're the coolest guy ever. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you just stroll into class 10 minutes late, looking like you don't give an F. You just sit down. I'm like, I was just working on my website. I was just late. I was
Now,
like,
did you ever pull this trick? Here's a trick that was fairly successful.
Mhm.
You find if you're taking an after lunch class,
yeah,
and you find a cute girl that you like, and you want to sort of like make an impression,
okay,
go get the New York Times crossword puzzle in the morning. Figure it out, what all the clues are. Go to the dictionary or thesaurus or whatever, so that you complete the puzzle. And you get another copy of the New York Times, and you sit down next to her in class, and you do the New York Times crossword puzzle like in 10 minutes in ink. She'll think you're the most brilliant kid in class.
Yeah. That's funny.
And you'll ask her to do some sort of crossword in reverse.
I love it.
Yeah.
I that did not occur to me. When I was in college, people did Sudoku instead of crossword.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
that's a fun game. That's a fun puzzle.
Yeah, that's
now the big thing is Wordle.
Wordle, yeah. I got pissed off at Wordle and I quit at it.
Probably for the same reason I did. You ready for my reason? If you missed a day, your streak ended.
I quit because I got blank ATCH, right?
Hatch, latch, patch,
watch, catch,
yeah.
Match, batch, like what am I supposed to do with that?
Now you're guessing, and they should give it to you on the last guess. If you've, let's say you had the ATCH after the now was it in the correct order?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say your third guess gave you blank ATCH.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to get it in 6. If you don't get it by the 6th try, you get 3 chances to fill in that first letter. They should give you a win, because if there's like 8 possible things, it's a guessing game after that.
Right.
There's no skill involved. The skill involved is getting to a point where, let's say you're 1 letter away, and there's more often than not, there's maybe 1 or 2 answers depending upon the word they use. But if there's like 6 or 7 answers, like in ATCH, they ought to give you the win, because you just guessed the wrong opening letter or first letter, even though there were like 8 possible chances. You basically got the essence of the puzzle.
Right. That's what really pissed me off. I had a long streak going. It was like 50 or 60 days or something.
Yeah.
And I ran into that and I lost. That was actually it was the first day I was in Vegas one year. It's a couple years ago, I think.
I was at 151 and missed a night.
Okay. Yeah, I was I think I would think I was meeting you the next day, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was that this year or some other year?
That's 2 years ago. So I lost on that. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with it. Like, this is stupid. I was like, I only did it because the streak was going.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And
it's kind of like beat the streak. You ever play beat the streak in Major League Baseball for the $5.6 million?
Is that home runs in a single?
No. You pick one player. You're allowed now to pick 2. Nobody's ever won it. I think it's been like 15 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to break DiMaggio's hitting streak of 56 games.
Oh, okay.
So you pick one player. He's got to get a hit that day, and your streak increases by 1. A few years ago, they introduced, it's been so hard, let's make it a little bit easier, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
You can now pick 2 players a day, but they both have to get hits, and your streak increases by 2. Otherwise, you go back to 0. So you do it for a few days, and I think the only exception is if your guy does not have an official at bat, like he walks, he's hit by a pitch. I don't know if sacrifices count anymore. Maybe sacrifice bunts or something, but basically you got to get a hit a day, and if you do that, that's $5.6 million. Costs nothing to entry.
That's on ESPN.
MLB.
Oh, MLB. Okay.
I think you can do it on the computer or on the app, and it's just good for the regular season. And the streaks do not carry over from one year to the next. And I think I don't know if anybody ever got to 50, but I know there've been a few that have been in the mid 40s. And they give you some information that you could use, like let's say you choose Trey Turner, and he's facing let's say Zach Wheeler. Obviously, when they were both on the field, they couldn't have it. So they will give you what, and I don't know if that's lifetime or this season or the last few seasons. They'll give you what Trey Turner's records is against Zach Wheeler over that
Right.
period of time. So you could see if he has good success. And I think they give you his current year stats, and I think something similar to that for Zach Wheeler as far as what his overall stats are. So they give you a little bit of an aid, but it's not as easy as a lot of people think. Oh, I got 700 ball players I can choose from.
Yeah, I wonder what the odds on that are actually. Like what are the odds that one of the better players gets a hit in a game?
Well, it probably, I guess the way you would figure it out, it would be like, let's say the best hitters in baseball. Let's say they're 300 hitters.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it would be 0.300 to the 56th power.
Right.
Which means the odds are like 0.001.
Yeah, no wonder no one has ever won it before.
Yeah.
It sounds easy, but it's really not.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. So.
Well, you get past 10 or 12 or 15, and then you start overthinking things.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, do I have to go with this guy who's been hot for me when I picked him, or do I try to say, well, he's not going to continue hot at some point. Let me try someone else.
Yeah.
If we're looking at random odds, LeBron scoring a basket
for Bronny this season.
How long is LeBron going to be out?
I don't know. If this sciatica, it might be a while. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think I'd still go with LeBron. Bronny's just so bad.
Well, playing time, I suppose.
Yeah,
would be a factor, but Bronny might have a heads up when LeBron isn't playing.
Played 20 minutes the other night, 0 points. Well, if he's playing 20 points, he might score by accident in one of these games. Yeah, it's kind of sad. It's a waste.
Now it'd be a real test of character.
What's that?
It's a fast break, and Bronny passes the ball to LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Does LeBron go in for the stuff, or does he give it up to Bronny, who's got a layup?
I don't know. I think hey, I got you this job. I'm taking the points here. I don't know.
That would be interesting. I'd love someone to ask LeBron that question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he would do.
I kind of think he would pass it back to his son.
That's what I would think.
As long as it was a relatively makeable shot, or the game was like a 30-point blowout either way.
Yeah, look, I'm a dad. I'd pass the ball to my son, but I don't know how LeBron feels. So. Yeah, that'd be an interesting scenario, but LeBron has to get on the court.
I wonder if they drive to work together or if they live separately.
They take a carpool, yeah, I can see that.
They take an Uber.
Exactly. I hope LeBron at least pays for the Uber.
Well, I wonder what Bronny's contract is. It's out there somewhere, I'm sure.
I would see LeBron lift Bronny up so he can help him dunk, like dads do with their kids. I did that with my.
Have you done? Has he done it yet?
Well, I've done that.
Or
with
a small basket.
We put it in a basket actually right over there. That's on the door. And my son can get it.
How old is he now? 4, 3 or 4?
He's gonna be 4 on New Year's Eve, so
okay.
he's close. He's close. So he can get the ball into the basket sometimes. My poor daughter, she always says, my turn. So she gets the ball and she goes like this. She's only 2, so it's like it goes up in the air barely. And so I have to lift her up and to let her
put her over the top of the basket as she drops it in.
Yeah. She's so happy that she does it too.
Yeah.
So it's nice, but yeah, that's I feel like what LeBron has to do to Bronny. So he's so happy that he finally scores.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Now he'll only be 32,726 behind his father.
Yep.
Or whatever the number LeBron has now.
That's it. Not too far behind. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah.
It would only take about a 50-year playing career for Bronny.
Well, at his pace, but it's infinite if you can't score at all. The year's like 9,000. He's still playing.
Who knows? The NBA may be playing 100-game schedules by then because they always got to find a way to get more money.
They're gonna play multiple times per day, given their rate. That's when
I was growing up, they used to have in the NBA double headers, and living in New York, I would go to Madison Square Garden, but it was not the kind of double header you would think. Like when I would go to a game, I would have let's see, Boston would play the Detroit Pistons in the first game, and then the Knicks would play Philadelphia in the second game.
Oh, okay. I thought they played
yeah,
2 games.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's a different doubleheader. It's a basketball doubleheader, but not like in baseball.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of neat. So we used to go to some of those games, and that was in the day when you could sit there and mingle with the fans, and I get all my autographs and all that from the players.
That's what we used to do for movies. We used to you pay for a movie ticket, see a movie, and then you'd stay and then go to the next theater. That's when we had time back in the day when we were kids. But
when you had time and transportation.
Yeah, or I mean, it'd be like someone's parents would drop them off, and like they'd drop us off, and then someone else would pick us up back in the day.
We'll see you in 6 hours.
Yeah, we'll see 2 movies. Yeah, and then we'd only pay for 1. So we felt like we're so badass.
And you'd spend the extra money on like 2 containers of popcorn.
Yeah, exactly, and candy and soda. Yeah, I haven't been to the movies in forever, but that's not true. I saw the one movie, the one where all the kids disappear. I forget what that movie was called. That was I don't know if you saw that or.
Now, last movie I saw was about a year ago. On New Year's Eve, I saw the A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan and Newport movie, which is very good. Okay. Now I'm looking forward to seeing the 2 movies that I might want to go see: the Springsteen documentary and the Nuremberg.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I think opens next week.
Yeah, the movie I'm thinking of is called Weapons.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like 2:13 in the morning or whatever time it was. All the kids got up from out of bed and walked out the door, and they were never seen from again. So it was really good. It was a really good movie.
Was that based on a true story?
They say it was. I don't know how true or how exaggerated it was, but my wife took me to see that for my birthday, and it was really good. It was really well done. So I'd recommend seeing.
When was your birthday?
August.
Recent?
6th. August 6th.
Okay.
Same as Evan. Same as Evan. August 6th.
Well, that's right. I think you guys have mentioned that to me.
Yeah, it was funny when we both figured that out. Yeah, we wanted to call our team the 8 Sixers. But
yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Well, what did you end up calling it?
WalterFootball.com 3.
What's that?
WalterFootball.com 3 because we couldn't change the name. We had to use the same name for every entry in the circa.
Oh, that was in the circa. I keep forgetting it was the circa, not the Westgate entry. Mm-hmm. But it was the same thing in Westgate this year. Now that you had to use the same entry, same alias for each contest at the Westgate.
It's so lame. I don't know why they do that. Just let people use their name.
Well, it saves cost on the cards that they print. Okay. Makes it easier for proxies to I've got one person who has 9 entries at the Westgate.
9 entries, really?
Yeah, in the regular contest.
I didn't know you could play up to 9 entries.
You can play up to 10. And this is a regular super contest.
Wow, I didn't even know that. That's pretty incredible.
And so for me as a proxy, I don't have to put in 9 account numbers. I just put in one entry 2, entry 3, entry 4, entry 5. Okay. It's a great time saver. So that makes it a lot easier. Of course, you got to make sure that you don't do the wrong contest, but it's easy if I hit the college contest by mistake and he's sending me entries for the super contest, instantly I could see there are like 50 different games to choose from in the colleges, and my hand just slipped. But the one thing you want to make sure with something like that, though, is that let's say he has 9 entries and he sends me all 9 at once, and I don't mistakenly put entry 3, fill it in with the stuff he's provided for entry 2. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing that's well, like you have 3 entries in one of the contests.
Yeah, in the circa, yeah.
Yeah, so I have to always make. I mean, not that it's a difficult task; it's really not. But just to focus, and your entry 1 goes into entry 1 on the app, and then entry 2, et cetera, like that.
What I'd like to know is if you have 10 max, like why 9? Like why not just go for the 10th?
I think because he owns a landscaping company, and he has various teams of workers, and I think he offers entries sort of like as a bonus or something to those who want to participate, and not everybody wants to participate. So he has 9 entries. I don't know how many he keeps for himself, and he may give them out to teams of 3 or 4 of his employees at a time.
Okay.
You get entry 1, you get entry 2.
That's
And
pretty
they're
cool.
usually they're very good at getting the information to me. So,
Mhm.
they don't, they do it the right way, the way that makes sense. I'll list entry 1 first, entry 2, entry 3, entry 4, entry 5. Even if they get them in a random order, and they say,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, we got entry 5. Let's do entry 5. Oh, here's entry 9. Here's
Right.
entry 7. Here's entry 2. Here's entry 1." So they do it. So it makes it a lot easier for me when I put that stuff in, and I try not to forget to put my entry in. You realize in Survivor, I think it's now 98 people failed to put picks in this year.
That's how much? How many
That's
was it last?
$98,000. That is free money now for the rest of
Yeah,
the field. There are a
that's
little bit
yeah.
over
All right.
2,000 entries because we lost about 2,000 last week on
Mhm.
the Falcons and the Bengals.
Okay. How many? How many forgot to do entries last week? Do you know?
4.
4. How do you get? How do you forget this late in the
How do
season?
you go? Yeah, how do you go 7 weeks through the season? You've seen the number of entries go from the original 18,718 down to like 2,078 or whatever, and you
Yeah.
forget. And you got one of the, and you 4 people have one of the remaining entries.
That's I don't know. I mean, God forbid something happens, but like
Yeah,
it
but
can't
that often,
every week. Right,
yeah.
right. I find that
Yeah, I
hard to
don't know
believe.
how many of those people use proxies because something could happen to the proxy, I suppose, as
Right.
well. But like if I'm now I've never had that issue. But I mean, if all of a sudden it's 5 minutes to post time and I haven't
Mhm.
heard, I'm just going to pick someone for him.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
It's crazy. I understand week one, you enter 2 months beforehand and maybe
Yeah.
you forget,
Well,
but
see, Evan, you know how Evan does it. He sends me his selections on
mhm,
Friday and says, if you don't hear back from me on Saturday by your deadline, just
yeah,
put these in. And I always ask him to please confirm either way that you want to go with what you sent me on Friday or you want to make changes. And I don't know that he ever made a change. I think he did make a change this past week on his super contest entry uh, when he
for the
found out
Bears.
that
The
Lamar
Bears, yeah.
Jackson was not starting, and I think he took the Bears out. I don't remember. Maybe he put the Giants in or something, or well, maybe he put the Bears in and took out the
Bears, yeah.
Giants.
Yeah, we
Not
were
it,
having
it
that
wouldn't have mattered, but
yeah, we were having that conversation. Just me and him, and then Tom, who I did the show with on Friday.
right.
We it's a shame because Tom and I had the Ravens on our card. Which I was I do kind
I
of what
used
Evan
the
does.
Ravens on one of my cards because I felt the difference between the two teams was such that the Ravens coming off of their bye and being extremely pissed off could cover the number even without Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean that's a great call. We loved the Ravens before on Friday.
And you'd make up a lot of ground on the field because you knew a lot of people once the news was out. Now, of course, a lot of people may have had their selections already put in
Right, 'cause
before
Thursday.
before the news came out on Saturday. Well, came out Saturday morning.
Right, right.
About
Yeah,
8:30 Pacific time. Because
that's
I got some text from people who said, hey, if it's not too late, can I change the pick? Blah blah blah. Because Jackson's out.
mhm,
And if I hadn't put it in yet, I did change it.
yeah.
In fact, the way that I normally put the entries in is first come, first served. Whoever gets
Okay.
the entry, So I start working from early going up.
Mhm,
Okay. Now, when that news broke, I did it the other way, and I started from the more recent entries that came in. I would check to see if they had the Ravens game in there. Because I might have gotten an entry from 7 o'clock before the news broke, and then they sent me a follow up when they found out about it 2 hours later. So I would have to start reading from the more recent entries that came in down to the
mhm,
older entries because let's say Joe Smith sent me that entry at 7 and then decided at 10 that he wanted to change the pick because of Lamar. Well, if I had gone in my usual order, I would have already submitted the 7 o'clock entry that I got and seen the other one too late. And they would have understood because
yeah.
that's how it is. But I try to do what I would like someone to do if I were on the other side.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like you do the best job possible.
Yeah. Well, at a certain point, I mean, at what point do I say, well, if he hasn't contacted me by now, I'm going to put in what he sent me? But that
Right.
was usually about 2 to 3 hours later after the original email came in. Because I get a lot of emails that show up in the overnight hours between Friday night and Saturday morning.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I always type up the emails and I put them as.
is there anybody still listening, by the way?
We have 19 people on YouTube. We have one on Twitch, and Twitter's complicated. It says we had 331 people on Twitter today, but I don't know. Twitter,
That
I
could
don't
be
know.
all,
Twitter
times.
Twitter doesn't do live, but yeah, live right now we have 20 people listening. So,
no, what now? Twitter what shows the number of people who viewed the video or at one point,
throughout
or listening, or
whoever for however long. I mean, throughout the whole video, we've had 331 people on Twitter at various points.
Now, is that 331 individual Twitter users or 331 Twitter hits?
Individual.
Yeah. Okay, so in other words, if someone goes in, they go out, they go back in, that counts still as just one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I had more followers on Twitter than anywhere else, so it makes sense that would be higher. So, we're up to 20 on YouTube from 19. So, if someone's stuck in, I am getting some work done because I won't be able to tomorrow morning. So,
well, I think we have set a record now: 3 hours 33 minutes, and in about another 18 seconds, 3 hours 33 minutes 33 seconds.
Yeah, it's gonna get there. That's nice.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, do you have anything else, or do you want to?
I think I've unloaded all I can unload today.
Okay, there we go. About to be 333.
I mean, if you wanted to go 4 hours, I could, but that's keeping you from getting your work done. I know.
Yeah, I have some work done as well to do as well. So,
there's only so much I can do to defend Seattle.
Right.
And then pick against them.
Even though
and then pick against them. Yes.
Right. Exactly. So
let's wish everybody a good weekend.
Yep.
And,
absolutely.
More winners than losers. Happy Halloween.
Yeah,
that's next week.
Fun.
That's next week.
Yeah. Oh,
no. Sorry, it's this week. That's right.
Yeah, this week.
I keep forgetting about it. Oh, I gotta go get my candy.
I was gonna. I forgot. I was gonna dress up. I was gonna put in a costume tonight. I forgot.
Oh, for tonight, yeah. I always get the candy that I like because I end up giving maybe about 5% of what I get. I give away because I just don't have people coming over in our neighborhood because they have they now have, and I can understand from danger standpoint. You don't want kids out there and all that after dark. Walking alone, and even with parental supervision, you don't know what's out there. So they have community Halloween parties.
Yeah,
like everybody on a block or something might go to a school area for a community Halloween party and all that. So I want to make sure I have stuff in case people come by, and then I also want to make sure that I have stuff that I like when nobody or few people come by. Yeah. And I say I'm going to have it, and I end up when I go to Dunkin' Donuts the next morning, I give all the used of the unused candy and the given away candy to the staff over there.
Yeah.
So I don't make friends with my dentist, but I give my dentist the name of all the people at the Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, I feel like dentists want you to eat candy so they get more business. Yeah.
Exactly. That's
yeah.
They probably started the trick or treat tradition.
Probably,
dentists.
Yeah. It's the dental coalition, but we don't want to be known as anti.
It's like Halloween is like the dentist's Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. And they're probably
there's just a little delay, probably of a few days to a few weeks of unwrapping the gifts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which are basically cavities.
Yeah, just cavities in a box. Yeah, exactly.
And fill them in. Yes.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah. So that would be fun. My kids will be out on Friday, so that'll be nice. All right. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit walterfootball.com. Visit thelogicalapproach.com as well. Andy, love doing the show with you. Can't wait for next week if you're able to come on.
And I may listen to the podcast with Evan. What's that? Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night. Yeah, I'll send you the link again. So
you can talk about my air conditioning.
Yeah, exactly.
We got that. We got that fixed long time ago.
Okay.
Well, it was after you guys were in town. Because remember, I think I told one of you, I forget that I had the appointment. They couldn't make it till the following Tuesday or something like that.
I think the air conditioning was working in your car when I was there, because Evan and I were there a month apart. So
yeah, it may have been, but it was low on coolant. It was low on coolant, and they had to do a flush of the system, and they needed to do more. They needed more time to do that. Then I could leave the car because I'm running around meeting people every day. So I had to find.
Right.
I had to find a day when I knew I wasn't going to need the car, for like half the day, and a time that they could service it for me. So It's all working. And we don't need the air conditioning anymore, although we did get 80 today, but that's going to be disappearing pretty soon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
Anyway, so that's all good. You'll be well taken care of next summer.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Well, it
And,
was like I said, that wasn't an issue when I was there, but Evan said it was. So, next time Evan's in town, Andy should pretend the AC isn't working. There you go. There you go. Get some. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Well, see, it's funny because I do enjoy driving with the windows down.
Yeah, me too.
In heat and cold, actually. I just like the fresh air.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes I do use the AC when I'm with people in the car and all that, but I just enjoy. So I can blast my music out and annoy everybody who can hear it.
What kind of music?
Rock and roll.
Okay. Okay.
I mentioned Springsteen. I got a couple of concerts of his, and he's a high energy. In fact, that New Year's Eve concert I told you about, I think he played about 95 minutes the first set. He came out and did a 45-minute encore.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, he was about 27, 28 at the time.
Yeah,
but then I saw him like 10, 15 years later, and he was still playing those lengths of concerts.
Oh, okay.
You want a long concert? If you, I don't know if you were probably too young to ever go see the Grateful Dead, because they could play for hours and hours and did.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
that was one I've seen him Springsteen several times, but that New Year's Eve concert was one of my favorite concerts of all time. I was my senior year at Penn, so I had off-campus apartment, and we went down. We came down from New York, me and a friend, and it was raining out on our way home from the Tower Theater, and we woke up New Year's morning to like 8 inches of snow, and we had to drive back to New York, and it was a very slow drive, but we were still energized from the concert the night before.
Yeah,
but
that sounds awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, I spent more time at concerts than in classes, but I managed to do enough to get to graduate and get my dual degree. So
yeah,
I was happy. Yeah, so
yeah,
it worked out okay in the end. They did not have any handicapping classes, however.
They should.
They should now. They really should now, because it's handicap is a good way to teach math.
Yeah,
it really
definitely. Is. Yeah, math and logic. Yeah,
math and logic and reasoning things out and looking for edges, mathematical advantages, and things like that. You could do. Yes, they should develop for kids with certain interests. That's how you get them interested.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, let's wish everyone again a very wonderful weekend with more winners than losers and a lot of excitement. And let's see if the Blue Jays can wrap up the World Series on Friday night.
Yeah,
after winning tonight.
Yeah. I unfortunately
there goes my Dodgers in 6 ticket.
I unfortunately had over 8 runs tonight. They had 7.
So
that didn't work out.
Yeah, that's okay. I had the game over last night at 8, and they took a Dodger run at the bottom of the 9th to get the push. Yeah.
I had over 8 too.
Now that my ticket is gone, I can root for the Blue Jays.
Oh, okay. You want the Blue Jays to win?
Well, I like the team. Dodgers always are in there. But I thought, in fact, the series went the way that I thought it would. I had Toronto in Game 1. I passed in Game 2 because that was effectively a bet on the Dodgers, because if they lose Game 2, they'd have to win 4 in a row to win in 6 games.
Right.
So I stayed off that one. In Game 3, I forget what I did in Game 3. But I expected the Dodgers to win Game 3. I expected Toronto to win Game 4 to make it 2-2, which it was. And then I thought the Dodgers would win Game 5 and go to Toronto and wrap it up in Game 6.
Yeah.
I like this one. I like to say, I'd like to see Game 7 go 19 innings.
That would be fun. Yeah.
I made a joke on one of the shows I did. I said, you know what? Major League Baseball is so silly sometimes that they will now have a new rule. If a game goes past 18 innings, they reinstate the ghost runner.
Oh my God.
In other words, they play the first 18 innings without the ghost runner, which is 9 more than in a regular season game. I hate the Ghost Runner.
I hate it
It's
too.
it's not baseball. Or at the very least, use the Ghost Runner for innings 10, 11, and 12. I'm sorry, play regular baseball innings 10, 11, and 12. And then if you don't end the game, then maybe you use it. Because that would probably cut down about 90% of the games that would go beyond 12 innings.
Yeah, we're half as long as game 3. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hate the Ghost Runner too. It seems so stupid. It's silly. It doesn't seem like real baseball. I don't know. It's something cool about it keeps going. I don't know. I think that's a good thing.
What's that now?
I think it's cool that the game keeps going. I think that's a good
thing. Yeah, that's the one game that you don't play with the clock.
Right, exactly. You can go on forever.
You get 27 outs, or in this case, 54 outs.
Yeah.
But no, baseball was the first game that I fell in love with as a kid. Because it was televised. We had 2 teams in New York. Football was not nearly as popular. It was beginning to get popular, but it was only at the time 14 game schedules as opposed to 16 and now 17. And baseball was an everyday thing, so there was something to look forward to when I came home from school.
Yeah.
Put on the old black and white TV, fix the rabbit ears, all that sort of stuff that you don't remember as a kid.
Yeah, we had an old TV. It was kind of like that, so I vaguely remember. At least did, but definitely not black and white.
And you actually had to get up, walk over to the TV set, and turn the knob to turn the channels.
That's
have you ever seen those shows where they introduced like an old product to some like Gen Zers? Like they showed them an old telephone, the rotary phone, and they had no idea what it was.
I haven't seen that. No.
You know what a rotary phone was, though.
Yeah. Spin the thing. Yeah.
I
remember that.
It was kind of fun. Those things that were part of growing up way back when are now like foreign because things have changed so much. I think when I was very young, we still had party lines where you could have like a whole bunch of people speaking at once.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, people don't even have house phones anymore. Like
I still have a landline.
Do you really?
I pay like nothing for it, and it's a number. Very few people. Only one friend calls that number. The other calls I get some from the spam family. Mr. Likely or Mr. Potential Spam. And some doctors who have my old number, even though I've given them my cell number like 10 years ago. They don't update their records accurately. But basically everything's on the cell now.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. My parents still get calls on their house phone from older relatives. So they still use the landline. But
I think I got 2 calls from someone beyond the grave at the old number.
That's funny.
But I didn't answer the call. I didn't recognize the number.
Yeah.
Now that I look at it, I do remember that it was partial number and partial word, partially letters. I think it was 373 hell. So I don't know. Didn't want to take a chance.
Yeah, it's better that you don't.
I didn't want to take a chance and say, "Oh, you'll be seeing me soon enough."
No, man.
Didn't want to take a chance on that. Yeah. All right, our silliness is over.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Hope you have a great night and a great rest of your week if you don't join us. But we'll be back tomorrow with Evan about 20 minutes after the Thursday night game is over. So
send me the link again, please. I want to hear. I want to hear you talking behind my back again. I like that. I don't mind that stuff. That doesn't bother me. I was almost tempted to use the record. Well, you only sent me the listen line. I was almost set to get in there, but I ended up using the chat box, so that worked out. Yeah. I'll send you if you want to come in and talk. I enjoyed listening to you and Evan talking. Different type of analysis, different things. And it's always nice to have some agreement, some disagreement, and some games you pass on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the way we do it every week.
Yeah, it's always great to have different viewpoints, and you hear stuff that you don't consider, and then you're like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm off of this game, or
I would not want to bother Evan with that, so I wouldn't pull that on him. I would tell him to call my mechanic, find out the truth.
Yeah. You could just say, "Hey, the AC is not working," and then you turn on the car. It's like, "Oh, it's working! I can't believe it's working."
Yeah, no. I would say take an Uber
Take it over.
and hope you don't get one that needs air conditioning.
Right,
Or,
right.
no.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I will probably try to listen tomorrow night because I'll be home.
Okay. Okay.
Doing something,
Okay. Sounds
drinking
good.
apple juice or something. So, everybody have a wonderful evening. Thank you
Yep.
for all the comments and all that. And Walter, you'll be in touch with me over the weekend.
Yep. Absolutely. All right.
With your 5-0.
Hopefully we both go 5-0. That'd be nice. All right, guys. Hope I have a
Mine
great
for the start of the next.
Yeah.
I'd rather save my 5-0 till next week when they start another mini contest.
This
At the Westgate.
This new week for mini concepts for Circa, right? Or is that
No, this is the final week in Circa
right.
for the second quarter, which is 5 weeks.
Right. Okay.
But the Westgate next week starts the fourth 3-week mini contest.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the Circa starts the third quarterly contest, and this is the second of the quarters that has 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And weeks 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 10, 11, 12, 13, 12. And then 14 through 18.
Right.
5-week quarter to end it all.
Okay.
So, anyway, good luck, and I'm going to say good night.
Okay. All right. Good night, everyone.
I was going to say I was going to wait till you end the feed.
Okay. Yeah. Good night, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow, and talk to you then.